like your face.
Your mom's face.
Whoa. Whoa.
Oh,
Adam
hey,
Adam
yo, you
hopping
leave
in
my
here with the
mama
hot
out.
business.
You leave my mama out of this conversation.
She has a beautiful face. That's what I was saying.
Yes, this
That's
is acceptable.
this sounds like revisionist history, but continue.
Are you calling my mother's face not beautiful, Gabe?
Well, no, that's what Adam said. I would never bring
won't
your mom
tolerate
into a conversation unless it was to talk about her amazing cheesecake and pecan pie.
Wow.
Gabe, there's nothing wrong with some revisionist history. The South did it, so why can't I?
Yeah, I think more than the South did it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a way to share my screen without doing a private chat with us boyos?
I don't think so.
I can go live though.
What does that mean?
Better go live.
Better go live.
So is it okay that I didn't do any research before this? I've been
Yeah.
pretty busy this week.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a character creation tutorial and stuff like that. So that's
You the
why
best.
I wanna share my screen. Oh, I could just do screen one. Here we go.
Wait, so you can do it?
Yep. All right. You should be able to see it.
What? I can't see anything. What are we talking about?
Where do I click?
I don't know. I'm streaming, bro.
Oh, okay. If you click on Gabe's name in general chat, you can do join stream.
Join.
Whoa! Why do you have porn up, Gabe?
Bro, because porn is the way of the future. Well,
Oh,
I think the present actually.
Yeah, I think it's catching on. Yeah.
do we need to pull one of these up?
Yeah, I would pull up the SW sheets, but I'll go over that in just a second.
Okay.
What? So Louis, you in here?
Hey, let's go.
Cool.
What up?
Not much, you know.
Yeah, man.
Create an account.
Yeah. So this right here, if you go to SW Sheets, I pinned it in game. This is a really easy character creation website that's free to use, and it doesn't make you calculate your own dice rolls. So if you would prefer like a PDF form fillable, I'm happy to send that to you. That'll be a little bit more complicated to do. So.
Oh wow.
Hey, I see Daddy quicker pinned a bunch of stuff. Okay, now it's buried.
Yeah. So.
I thought it was at bottom.
The other thing that I would pull up is the species
Louis,
PDF that I
able
posted.
to see this, Louis?
I'm just the pinned messages or the
Gabe's live stream. If you hover over Deadly Quaker, you go to join stream.
streaming.
I think that's right.
I'm also streaming on Twitch, so you can view from either one.
Oh, it's
Okay.
Wait, the species what, Gabe?
The species PDF that is also pinned. It should be the third from the top of those pins. That's going to be another really helpful thing to pull up here.
Third species. Okay, species.pdf.
Yeah.
Yo, where were Alina? I don't remember these little back to the land before time people. What's going on?
All right, so I'm just gonna do a real quick character creation run through for y'all, and you can follow along as best as you want, and then we can kind of go from there. So the last thing that I would pull up for right now is going to be the begging for I didn't pin this one, but it's the last link I posted. It's the begging for XP link. This has all the talent trees that you'll need, and that'll make more sense once I pull up and go through a character creation process. So I'm just going to do an Edge of the Empire one for now, and we'll get right into this business. So, basic introduction into the system is it's an XP investment system as opposed to a class leveling system. And for all you newbies out there, there are also these cheat sheets that I posted into the thing, which you can pull up after this. But I just want to run through because the dice are new. They are called narrative dice, and they are not the D20 system. And so the basic component of this system is you have positive and negative dice. And so if you look on my screen right now, I have this cheat sheet up and it shows the different type of dice. So on the left side, we have our positive dice, which are green, yellow, and blue. Green dice are your ability dice, yellow dice are your proficiency dice, and blue dice are your boost dice. Ability dice are based off your base abilities, your characteristics. Proficiency dice are when you get ranks or trained in skills, you upgrade the dice. And then boost dice are from talents and also like narrative or environment specific benefits you might get from that. And they kind of give you a description of what each one are. The negative dice that we see over here are the difficulty dice, which is the base difficulty that I'll assign to a situation. So simple is none, easy is 1, average is 2, hard, etc., etc. Then there's challenge dice, which are these red buggers. And they are, again, the opposite of the proficiency dice, and they have more opportunities for failure. And we'll get to this last symbol, the despair. And then setback dice, same thing. So if it's dark and you're trying to shoot a gun, you're going to get a setback die. Or if it's raining and you're trying to climb something, all that stuff that that is going to upgrade and get added to the pool. So when we're rolling dice, we're rolling lots of dice, which is I love. And we'll get to that once I create my character. But I just wanted to go over the basics of the dice. So now with a character, I'm going to pull up a talent tree for you all. Where am I? Okay, so I'm just gonna make a basic. Let's just do a bounty hunter. So when you're creating a character on this
What were
website,
those? What were those character names?
where? Oh yeah. I named one poop.
I-
That was my last test. I thought for this one, I'd go with something a little bit more
Okay,
basic here.
sure.
So, the way I create characters and like anything like D&D, you can start with your class, which in this case are called careers, or start with your species or your race. So sometimes I'll just like scroll through and I'll just stop and be like, oh, I don't want to play an alum. But okay, hey, I want to play Admiral Akbar, so I'm gonna make a Mon Calamari bounty hunter.
They're actually called calamar. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, yes. I don't think George. I think George Lucas ran out of some creativity and some of his
There's a
naming.
lot. I didn't know of half the species when you sent that. I was like, I know Star Wars, okay, but I don't know this at all. Who
So
are
I
half these
heard
creatures?
I heard a behind the scenes story for Admiral Akbar was that there was talk of changing his character look because he wasn't attractive enough to be like a lead protagonist. But
Oh
then
yeah,
the
I
idea
heard
was
about
like in the Star Wars universe, you shouldn't have to look a certain way to
Mm.
be a certain morality. So they kept him kind of I don't know.
Creepy
I think he
looking.
looks cool, but it was definitely a choice that
Was
I
that in
heard
the
that
new
they
movies? You mean, or
it was with the first one he showed up
original?
in.
Okay.
Um. Yeah. So that's funny, and I totally believe it. I played a one-off with my brother, and he played Admiral Akbar's older brother, who was not as successful as he was, Lieutenant Akbar. Um,
Okay.
it was pretty funny. So when you choose your career, you get access to career skills. And what you're going to do is once you choose your career, so I'm choosing bounty hunter, I go through and I check these boxes, which I'll explain what that means. So I
Okay,
get
well,
I get athletics, I get perception, which it's all. I also get piloting planetary, which is different than space, but I get both of them, JK. And then I'm getting some combat skills. So I'm getting ranged heavy, brawl. I need to collect brawl, ranged heavy, and then I get streetwise and vigilance. So I click those boxes. So now that's my career. Then each career has a specialization. So bounty hunter has assassin, it has gadgeteer, it has survivalist, it has martial artist, and it has operator and skip tracer. And so just for this, I'll do a Mon Calamari bounty hunter martial artist. And so I get some additional career skills here. So I already have athletics brawl, but I'm gonna add to mine coordination and discipline, which I'll just check the boxes here. So now for the bounty hunter, the top of these top skills right here, I get 4 of them. So I get 4 free ranks in that. And how I do that over here in the rank column. So let's just say I'm gonna want 1 in athletics. I'm gonna say I'm gonna take I don't come to coercion or that yet. I'm gonna take 1 in perception, and then I'm going to take one in brawl and one in ranged heavy. And so the difference between ranged heavy and ranged light is just by the weapon you're using. So like ranged light is pistols and stuff. Ranged heavy is going to be like bigger blaster rifles use ranged heavy.
And you can't take more than one in a skill or something.
So you only get one free rank from this list. Now,
Okay.
where you can start with 2 ranks of one ability. So, for example, since I'm a martial artist, I come down here. Now I get 2 free ranks of this from this list. So of these 4, I get 2 more. So I'm going to take a second one in brawl because I'm a martial
see.
artist. So
Gotcha.
I'm going to want that additional rank there. And so I take that second rank, and now I'm chilling. And then I get 1 more from here, and I think I'm going to take discipline because my guy's going to be disciplined. And so these skills are very similar to that of like Dungeons and Dragons. They work very similarly, and I'll show you how we're getting this dice pool. So now I'm going to hop back to my species. So you'll see right here that each species gives you a base array of stats. So there's no rolling, there's no point buy for right now at the base. So I'm going to go through. I have 2 brawn, I have 2 agility, I have 3 intellect, I have 1 cunning. I'm going to have 2 willpower and 2 presence. And then there's a couple other things that are important. You have a starting amount of XP. So I get to start with 100 XP, and I'm going to put that in my available XP right here. So now I have the basics of my character put together. I have my starting skills. The other thing that I get is Mon Calamari's begin the game with 1 rank in education. And so I'm going to put in that, which I think is down here. Education right here. Is not a career skill, but I get a free rank in it. So the significance of career skills is they're easier to level up next. So I have this 100 XP that I can now invest. So I can invest XP in 3 main areas. I can upgrade my characteristics, which at this point is where I want to invest my XP, and I'll explain why in a second. I can upgrade skills, and I can invest XP into my talent tree. Okay? So to upgrade your characteristics, I'm playing a martial artist, which is going to be a brawn-based character, really going to be dependent on strength. So I'm going to invest XP probably into brawn. And so to upgrade these, the reason why I want to do this is the only time I can invest XP to upgrade my characteristics until you get all the way down to the bottom of your character sheet to get dedication, which you get +1 to a single characteristic. And if you'll look at my brawl skill right now, I'm rolling 2 yellows. Here, I want to
Damn.
make this bigger. So when I add 1 to my bronze skill, I get to add a green dice to that pool. So now I'm rolling 2 yellows and a green. So the way you construct your dice pool is you take your base characteristic. So let's just take like athletics because we can see it. We have 3 dice. Now that's going to start as 3 green dice. And then for every rank I put in there, I upgrade a green dice to a yellow one. You see if I have, oop, I just did that. All right. So if I put 1 in, it goes up by 1. Now if I put 2, it goes up to 2. So that's why upgrading your characteristics is really powerful because it means more to add a dice than upgrade a dice. So now I'm starting at 2 brawn. To upgrade it to 3 is 10 times the number you're going to. So to move from 2 to 3 XP is going to be 30 XP. So now I'm down to 70. And you know what? I want to be a beefy
Again, hey, Louis.
Oh, not again.
We can hear you now, Elijah.
Oh man, that was weird.
Hey, yep, you're coming in.
Right. Sorry, Gabe. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. And I mean, this is probably a little bit of review for you, Elijah, anyway.
It's nice to have it all again. Question. Where do we get that sheet?
This I pinned it in the Discord, but it's called, if you just look up SW sheets, you should be able to find it.
Cool.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do for my beefy chunky guys, I'm actually going to move this up to 4. So now that means I'm going to use another 40 XP, which means I only have 30 left over. So I'm like, okay, what do I want to be? And so presence is pretty much charisma. It's going to influence skills like charm or leadership or negotiation, or also cool. And so, just a side note, cool and vigilance are the two skills that determine initiative. Cool is if you know combat's coming, you get to roll cool. Vigilance is if you're not aware that it's coming. If you get surprised, you get to roll a vigilance. Willpower goes against skills like coercion or discipline. And if you play like a force-based character, a lot of willpower is helpful for force powers. Cunning is pretty self-explanatory, but it feeds off of skills like streetwise, deception, your ability to be deceptive and conniving. Intellect, intelligence, agility is agility. Agility is probably the most potent characteristic in the game because it is all your combat skills and your piloting skills are based off of, not all of them. Any shooty is based off of agility. And so that's basically where we're at here. So for my character, I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm a
Wait, quick question, Gabe.
yeah.
So piloting, like if we are using a ship, that's going to be agility based.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like your ability to like move the throttle or whatever.
Okay.
And there's two
Push
different
those
types.
buttons.
Yeah. There's two different types of piloting skills. There's space and planetary. Anytime you're flying like a space ship, so that could be a freighter, that could be a starfighter, any of like that is going to be space. Even if you're flying in atmosphere along the surface of a planet, it's still space. Planetary is going to be your air speeders, your land speeders, and your speeder bikes. Anything like that, your pod racers, that's all planetary.
That's
Uh,
dope because like you never leave home, but you can still be a good pilot.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Oh,
And again, if you're a pilot, you're probably going to have high agility. So you've never flown a spaceship before, but you might have a 4 agility, so you're still pretty good at flying. You just don't have
okay.
any skill or experience ranking up in it. So I have this 30 XP left. Just to show you what else I can do with it, I'm going to save it to not invest in my characteristics, which I probably wouldn't do. I would probably put like a 2 here or up another one to 3. Having a 4 in a characteristic is really, really strong and not necessary. Having a 3 is really, really good. So now what else I can do is I can invest in skills here. So at character start, you can't go above 2 ranks in a skill. So I'm going to look at my other places to invest XP. So it's like, okay, coordination. I don't have any ranks in that. To rank up a career skill is 5 XP to the rank you're going to. So for the first rank I put into a skill, it's only 5 XP. But let's say I want to take athletics up to level 2, that's going to be 10 XP. All right. And I can put that in any of these skills. You can get skills in stuff do not have a career. Let's say I really want my character to be kind of like scary and like uh uh coercive. So I can put 1 rank in this, but it costs 5 times the rank you're going to plus an additional 5 XP. So that's going to be a total of 10. So I'm now down to 5 XP that I have left to spend. And now what I want to do is I'm going to look back at my talents. So I have this talent tree that I can invest XP into. And so I'm going to come down and I'm going to look at my talents and be like, okay, Iron Body. Okay, I get to remove setback die from coordination and resiliency checks. That's pretty good. Or this skill parry. When hit by a melee attack while wielding a melee weapon or lightsaber, I can suffer 3 strain and reduce the parry. That's also pretty good. So I'm going to take actually precision strike, which is going to be 5 XP. So each one of them has a cost on them, and you have to start at the top and go to the bottom, and you'll see these tiny little like lines. You have to follow the path. So you can't go down until you unlock one of these that connects to the next row of tier 2
Yeah.
ranks. So precision strike allows me to get down to tier 2.
Is there a difference between the red and blue
Yes.
coloring here?
So up here you'll see active, passive, and then also ranked. So
Okay.
active means you have to do something to trigger this. So for example, when this character inflicts a critical injury with brawl, melee, etc., you may suffer 1 strain and change the result to any easy critical injury result, which is really good. Whereas the blue ones are passive. This one just gives me +1 strain threshold. And I'll go through what strain is here in a second. And then ranked means you can get multiple of them. So you can get multiple ranks of grit, as you see here. You can get, in this, you can get up to 3. it looks like. So you can increase your strain threshold by 3, which is really, really good. So there, I've spent my XP, I got precision strike, I'm down XP. Now I come back to the top and I go back to my species list and I'm going to do the rest of my stuff here. So I have wounds. Wounds is health. So it's 10 plus my brawn. So I'm a beefy chunker. I get 14 wounds, which is really good. So you'll see that I came over here, I looked at 10 plus my brawn. My brawn is 4, so I'm at 14. My strain. So strain is a new resource that you have in this game, and it is basically emotional, mental, fatigue and some physical exertion. So strain is something you can expend to gain an additional maneuver on your turn. So at the base of every turn in a combat, you have an action and a maneuver. A maneuver is you run, you move a range band. Um, you pull yeah, you pull out a blaster. So let's say you're like flat-footed, you're caught by combat, you can suffer 2 strain to get an additional maneuver, so you could move and then also draw your blaster for that 2 strain. And so my strain threshold is 10 plus my willpower, so my willpower is 2, so my strain threshold is 12. And then you also have this to spend on any of the talents you get. So for example, in order for me to use my precision strike, I have to suffer 1 strain. And so it's this additional resource that allows you to trigger additional talents. And if your strain threshold gets maxed out, let's say I'm just using all my stuff willy-nilly, then I can get unconscious. This can put you unconscious. You can't die from a strain threshold being met, but you go unconscious until you are able to rest. It's
Quick
basically,
question, dude.
yeah.
So can enemies deal strain damage?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay,
thanks.
cool.
Thanks. That's the next place I'm going to. I wanted to do an example roll. So I'm gonna hop into the roll to win where we should have our oh no, we don't have our bot. Okay. Let me get our bot up in this business. Yes, so when I'm constructing a dice pool, I'll show you what this looks like. Let me just Star Wars Discord bot. Star Wars.
Thank you.
Ugh.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That was beautiful. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. We want Imagination Station.
Hey Gabe, where's the link or which pinned message is the careers?
The careers, it's begging for XP. I didn't pin it. It's the if you go to
Oh, I
general,
already clicked on that one. Oh,
you got it.
yeah. Oh, okay. I see it. We have to click things.
um, other things that I pinned are the core rule books. I just figured they're so the way that this game is like kind of structured is there's 3 core rule books. They're all the same system. They're just different settings. So essentially there's Edge of the Empire, Force and Destiny, and Age of Rebellion. You can use any of the careers from any of them, and they're all on this sheet. So you can see there's the different talent trees. Feel free to use any of them. We'll get to this system builds in narrative mechanics that are kind of like the personality traits, bonds, and ideals from D&D, but they actually have a mechanical impact on the game, and I'll get there in just a second. But feel free to use a career from anyone. That doesn't really matter. What matters is this last part. All right, so we should have the bot here.
So we're gonna be a party of 4 Jedi's, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Everyone knows
There.
Jedi's are lame, Louis.
Okay.
Fuck, I'm a 7-year-old dude. It's super sweet.
So let's just say I'm in a combat, okay? So I'm gonna be punching this dude. So I'm this Mon Calamari. I'm in like a bar and I'm fighting some guy, tavern brawler. So what I'm gonna do is every melee combat is always average difficulty. So I'm rolling 2 yellows and 2 greens right here based off of this. So I go yellow, yellow, which is YY, GG, and then purple, purple. Um, so characters also have defense right here, which you probably won't have at character start, but they basically add setback die. So let's say I'm fighting a guy with like some pretty heavy armor. He might have a defense rating in melee. So I'm gonna add a setback die, which is a black die. However, I'm gonna aim, which is I haven't used my maneuver yet because I'm standing into like engaged range with this guy and I'm not pulling out a weapon, which allows me to add a boost. And I'll share with you there is on this on this one, it shows you everything you can do in your combat action. So here are your incidentals, here are your maneuvers, and here are your actions. So I'm doing the aim maneuver. I can aim twice, which means I would suffer 2 strain to get an additional boost die on my check. So I'll go ahead and do that. So I'm getting 2 boost die, and then I get to roll. And now the crazy part of this game comes alive of um, how do we interpret what just happened? So if we go back to our cheat sheet and we find the basics of the symbols. So right at the top, we have successes, which are these explodey things. So we're getting a net 5 of them. Failures are the downwards triangles, which we don't have any of. And then advantages are the like wing things, and the threats are these like imperial symbols. So we're having a net 3 advantages and 5 successes, which is pretty darn good. So to deal damage, what happens is I take with just your fists, it's just your brawn plus 5 because you add your net successes to it. So right now I'm dealing 9 damage, which is a lot to deal with just your fists. That's like unwarranted. And then with your advantages, you get to do some additional stuff with that. So spending advantages is really, really cool. So let me pull up just an example of there's like actual mechanics that go along with it, but essentially what they allow someone to do is have like narrative control of the situation just for a moment. I'm gonna go to my drive real quick. So advantages mechanically can be spent to cause strain on somebody. So that's where an enemy can inflict you strain at them. And so in this situation, I could use those advantages to inflict strain. And there's a spending component to them. Here we go. Let's go spending advantages and threats. And I can share this with folks too. So up here, oh, this is starships. Whoops. Here we go. So in combat, you can use an advantage to recover 1 strain, add a boost die to an next ally's check. So where I like to go with these is narratively, what is the benefit you want to have in this situation? And maybe you say, oh, I want there to be a couple of like liquor bottles right next to me that I can grab for my next attack. Or let's say I punch him and he like falls back and breaks a table. That would be like an opportunity. Or let's say you punch him and I'm able to like take a couple steps back and get some space from him, and that might give you that 1 strain. Or you punch him and the way you punch him like knocks him into like right out in the open, so your teammate can get that boost die and have a better shot at him. Here's like this notice single important in an ongoing. Let's say you're trying to recover something from this guy. You've been sent to get a data pad from him. Maybe you punch him and that data pad falls out, or you see it on his belt and can try and grab it next time. So these are really open. There is, if you want to go by the rules, this is what you're allowed to. This is how you're allowed to spend it. I'm really flexible as a GM. I like allowing the narrative benefit of whatever you come up with. So it's more fun to me to say, what are you trying to do, and then we'll figure out how it translates um, back to the rules.
Cool.
So let's just say though, you rolled. I'm just gonna roll bad die for right now. Let's just say like this is your net result. So you're failing and you have threats. So the threats are my opportunity, and they're on the same thing that I can do bad things to you. It's where I get some narrative control in this space. But what's interesting is you can fail and get advantages. So let's just say you fail the hit, but you still have these 3 advantages. You still get to have some some kind of positive thing come out of this situation. You're not dealing damage, but let's say, oh, actually, when I go to punch, he like steps back and I'm able to like pull a stool as like a shield or something. And that's going to be able to come down here. You can see gain 1 melee defense or range defense until the start of your next turn. Or let's say he's wielding a blaster and you're not. You can knock that blaster out of his hands. That takes 3 advantages. Other things you could do is perform a free and immediate maneuver, which is really, really good. All these things. So that's where the dice get really funky and the system really comes alive. Is how are we using these dice to um, unlock some of the narrative storytelling we want to do? And there's 2 symbols that are left, which I have intentionally not addressed. And these are these triumphs and despairs. These are built into the system because Star Wars is a super cinematic story, and so these are your opportunity to like go big. And so what they allow us to do is each one of them counts as this symbol, which is like an advantage or threat on steroids. Let's just take a triumph. This is an opportunity to do something really excellent, really awesome. So the triumph counts as a success as well as the triumph. So you get that additional success to your dice pool. And then as a triumph, this is your opportunity to say, go out on a limb and ask for something really big, and we can figure out how it goes from there. There are like rules for it. Like you can see the triumphs in here. You get to upgrade your next check, which means you get to turn one of your green die in your pool to a yellow dice, which is really powerful. You can upgrade your next ally checks or do something vital, such as shooting the controls to a nearby blast or sealing them shut. For example, in episode 4, when Luke blasts the door to lock the stormtroopers out, and then they jump across the cavern on his like zip line thing. Um,
Is
uh,
that an example of?
a triumph.
Yeah, a single triumph.
Yeah,
One
that could be a
triumph?
single triumph. And so yeah, those are the symbols. Despairs are my opportunity to say, oh, you know what? Your blaster is out of blaster packs. Or something gets damaged. Maybe it overheats and it takes a tick of damage. So there's lots of things that we can do in those situations. Again, I encourage you all to think of like, what do I want to come out of this situation? And from there we can work it into how that gives you an advantage in the rules. Any questions about those dice?
I'm sure I'll have many.
Yeah, and we can figure it out in the game as we go. I want to put martial artist. So that's the base of the dice pool. So the next thing I would do is you start with 500 credits, and I would use those to buy stuff. For now, let's just focus on getting this part of our character sheets done, and then we can go and I can send you a website where they have all the items, and you can like look through there and spend. But for now, let's go through and build our characters. Any other
I've
questions
been
about
looking at
this?
all the races.
Yeah. So if you
I know.
want, I also pinned the core rule books, which you can go through and look at. Um, but it might be better to use what I sent you. However you want to do it, feel free to peruse those links and everything, and I'll be here to answer questions. And I'm gonna just like be building out my character as well. So before, as you're like starting to peruse those links, I wanted to just show you some example character sheets. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is motivations and obligations. So Edge of the Empire has the system of obligations. So this is the narrative mechanic that I was mentioning to you. So obligations are basically debts that one has. So an obvious obligation from the movies is Han Solo's debt to Jabba the Hutt. And so there's a bunch you can choose from um, that exist. And let me just pull up the table. Oh, this is not what I wanted. Doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo. Hmm. Here we go. So here's just a base table. There's some more, and you can come up with your own. Um, but so, for example, debt is what Han Solo's obligation was. And so this is just a represent something from your character's past that I, as the GM, can bring up. And the way I do this is, so on this character sheet, you'll see that there is, so this obligation is bounty. So this character, Grabao, who's a Wookiee colonist doctor, has the obligation of bounty, meaning he has bounty hunters after him. There's a bounty on his head. And so what happens is you see this magnitude. What I do is I add up everybody's um, obligation at the start of a game and I roll a D100. And if I roll a number associated on like adding yours up, so let's say you each had 20. I would put like the first one as the first section, then the second section, and the third section. And I roll a D100, and if I roll below a 60, I'm gonna hit one of your obligations. And basically, what happens is that gets triggered for this round. So let's say one of you had a bounty hunter, a bounty obligation. Bounty hunters might show up trying to collect the bounty on your head. Or if you have a debt,
Dud.
if you have a debt to Jabba the Hutt, maybe Jabba the Hutt shows up asking about that. Or he might ask for a favor or something else. And so this is an opportunity to just add a little bit more story and side questing into the game using a mechanic. I often don't roll and I just bring it in when it's appropriate to the story. But for getting going at start, it's just another nice way to do that. Um, the the motivation is much more straightforward. This is just like what's motivating your character. There's tables and stuff you can choose from, but don't feel like you have to. Um, yeah, and so obligation is for Edge of the Empire. I think that's what we're going to use for all of our characters to start. And I'll post this table in chat. But if you want to play a Force user, there's something called morality, which you have an emotional strength and an emotional weakness, and this is the system they use to track if you're using light or dark side of the Force. So if you want to play a Force user, we can talk about that more in depth.
I'm good. I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be doing that. I already looked into it a bit earlier.
Okay, cool.
Nice then.
Yeah, any questions before you all just kind of do your thing? Does anybody have an idea of what they want to play?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna play basically Chewbacca with my own tweaks.
Fantastic.
Adam,
Great.
actually, it's funny you
So
should
good.
say that
Cool.
because I found I had made a character back in 2017 called Yogi Beretta, and Wookie, a saboteur engineer who has a bunch of grenades, and that's all he has. What I'm gonna do is just make
Man,
sure
this
that, like,
demolition special.
I'm gonna follow Gabe the path that you took. I'll just make sure like the numbers are clean and whatever.
Hey
But yeah,
Jason,
I think
yeah,
it's just
running a game for some of my college friends.
that. I'll
That's
make sure it makes sense. But Adam, maybe we could be related or something, you know?
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah. I'm gonna be a
Uh,
smuggler pilot, Pierre, and I was thinking that I'm doing this all for my family. If we could be like family members, that
Oh, I
could
love
be.
that. I love that.
Totally.
Yeah, yeah.
It's Yogi
Yo,
and who?
That's
Who was
awesome.
the two characters?
The bear.
By the way, Adam, on this old character sheet, I have complications, destroy rival moon. What I is that interesting? Do you want to?
Adam, you did Boo Boo.
Are we?
I just
Boo
want to be a
boo.
Mandalorian,
No.
but they're not that good.
Maybe we defend our family moon. Like there are many moons around a planet, and we need to. Like I'm trying to blow up.
Yo, how about we have a rival Wookiee family?
Yeah.
We have a moon, they have a moon, and we're
Yep.
trying to destroy their moon.
That's right. And
Uh,
I want to do it with explosives, and you're gonna be the one who takes me there. And
I joined smuggling so I could get us a big stockpile of explosives.
Are you gonna
Let's
play
do
a
it.
smuggler then? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
a
cool.
smuggler pirate.
I'll be the engineer. I'll do the
Pilot.
repairs on the ship. We'll be like, yeah.
I'm
Hey,
a
it's
really
me,
good. I'm
Yogi
doing all the-
Beretta. Hey.
I know what I'm gonna be then.
There are some additional smuggler careers. Oh, they do have them. They have the gambler, which is particularly interesting. Cool. Pierre, do you need suggestions on what kind of career that would be?
I mean, I got engineer saboteur because it
That
looked
sounds
like
about
it was
right.
explosive oriented. Again, this is like an old character sheet, so I'm gonna go through the SW sheets process and make sure it all lines up.
Cool. If you need anything with that, let me know. There is also the technician career class, which is in Edge of the Empire. and they have something called Outlaw Tech, which is really cool character sheet. But Saboteur definitely is going to be more like explosive oriented.
Hey Gabe, quick question.
What's up?
When we have a skill that's a career, we start at rank 1, right?
So as a reminder, so if you're doing a smuggler, you get 4 free ranks from that from the first page. So if you're looking at my
Yep.
screen, you get 4 free ranks in this. All of them are career skills, but you only get 4 ranks in these. And then you get 2 additional from here. But they're all
Yep.
career skills, so they're easier to rank up later on. Does that answer your question?
But no, but they start at level 1 rank.
No, you get 1 rank and 4.
That's
So
what I'm saying. So for the 4 we choose,
you
we
get
do the checkbox that says career, and then we put a 1 next to
yes,
them.
yes.
Yeah, that was
So
my
so you
question.
should get a total of 6 ranks in careers skills by the time you're done with that. And then you'll probably get 1 from your species. I think Wookiees get Brawl, is my memory.
Sounds about right.
They do.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Louis, did you
So
say
here's
you wanted to play a
the-
force sensitive character?
Yeah, I'm a child, so I
Okay.
need force powers to make me happy.
Yeah, so in the begging for XP there is the should just be force powers. They might just be in Force and Destiny. Let me double check.
Yeah, I browsed through Force and Destiny the other day.
Yep. So at the bottom, so how force powers in this game work is there additional talent trees that you can buy into. Um, and so let's
Okay.
just take foresee. So foresee, the classic of like looking into the future. The base power costs 10 XP, so they're really expensive. But you get to spend force die. So force die are I don't think they're on the basic sheet, like the
No, but they're like the white dice with the
yeah.
dots on.
So right here, the force dice, they only
Yeah.
have black and white dice, and so when you roll them, you'll get either 1, 2. Here, I can just roll an example.
Oh, yo, whoa, 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 whoa,
So
slap.
so
I'm
to
being notified.
to spend these, you could just spend 1 to unlock this force power. But if you roll a dark side, you have to you have to suffer strain. It costs 2 strain to activate force power, dark side, to use dark side force pips to activate the force power. Normally, you have to also spend a destiny token. So the last part that I totally forgot about are the destiny tokens, which we roll at the start of the game, and we have an ongoing basically resource of these destiny tokens. And so if I spend 1 to, like, let's just say things are moving a little bit slow and I'm like, okay, I just want to throw a squad of stormtroopers at you guys, I can flip this. Now it goes to light side, which means you all can spend it. And so, okay, I'm like, all right, so the squad of stormtroopers shows up. Let's say, like, a little bit later, you're on the Death Star and you're having to escape, and you're like, we're in this prison cell, we don't know where to go. You spend it, and you're like, oh, there's a trash compactor chute right next to us that we can jump down into. So this is your opportunity, another moment where you can take some narrative control of the scene. You could say, hey, we actually do have a tracker device on our character sheet that we can use to track the ship that we need to know where they're going, or there's a trash compactor here, or insert some other ridiculous idea you might have, obviously within reason, but we can kind of roll with where you want to start. Like, what are you trying to accomplish? We can figure out, how does this destiny token help unlock that. You can also spend these like more mechanically to upgrade your next roll. So let's say you're in a really bad spot, you're like trying to melee someone, and you're playing like a brawn 1 character. You can spend that to upgrade that dice to a yellow from a green.
Gabe, this site you're using to get like the quick version, there's the talent trees.
Yeah.
Is there one for the Force and Destiny one too?
Yeah.
The pin stuff just drives. Which is it just in the Force and Destiny drive, or is it something different?
Yeah, the Force of Destiny drive has the core rulebook. The website I'm using right here, I can just
Begging for XP has it all. All links to all of them.
yeah, I'll share it with you here.
I'm sure this can easily be done with a Google search too, since you already have it up.
Yeah, I'm just gonna post it into general, the Force of Destiny one.
Cool, thanks.
Hey
Yep.
Gabe, just as a reminder, so I've chosen my skills and I want to spend my XP to upgrade abilities. So if I have agility 2, to go to agility 3, it would cost 30 XP.
That's correct.
And then to go to agility 4, it'd be 40 XP.
An additional 40, so a total of 70. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Nice.
Gotta be a good pilot, you know.
Yeah. 3 is also really solid. 3 is really solid.
Dude, I want to be the best
Okay.
at piloting.
I am gonna be
The best pilot.
the mechanic / slicer. I have not decided yet, like which one exactly. Also,
Cool.
Gabe, what does the first page with the career itself do? Like,
Oh, that first talent tree you're saying?
yeah.
So those are so once you tap out a a talent tree, let me go back to
Like
this one. Yeah,
max out the sub
so
ones, you
I'm
can
on the
go into big
smuggler.
ones.
Yeah, so you see how there's two. So on the smuggler one I'm looking at, there's these two right here. These like two like branches. Those
Yeah.
attach to the bottom of a talent tree. So you have to get those two talents to get into these. And so these are expert abilities. So they're really really powerful. So for example, narrow escape base ability.
Yeah,
Once
they're very good.
they're very very good because they're basically their career like archetype abilities that you can access. So one of my favorite is I think it's on the Guardian one. No, it's on the Diplomat tree. It You can turn any combat encounter into a social encounter. So I could be throwing a I could be throwing like Darth Vader at you, and then all of a sudden you're like, nah, I'm gonna spend 2 Destiny tokens and I don't want to fight Darth Vader. I just want to talk to Darth Vader.
Great. I pulled out my tea set.
Yeah, exactly. And then they give you like additional stuff to like do with. They're really powerful and super fun once you get there, but don't have to worry about those quite yet.
Where on the character sheet do we put our abilities? So I'm getting the narrow escape base ability.
So you
Where
can't
would I?
get that, remember?
I can't.
No, because you have to attach them to the bottom of a completed talent tree. So
Wait, I'm confused.
so let's. Are you looking at my screen?
Let me look at it again. Sorry.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so right here, see these two where my mouse is at the top, these two things, these two like little
Yeah.
branches, they attach to the bottom two talents on a talent tree. So you have to work all the way through a talent tree before you can.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So they're like late game stuff.
Okay, so then that still doesn't answer my question because I will buy one of these abilities on
Yep.
pilot. Where would those go on the character sheet?
Yep. So if you scroll down, there's a place called talents. You can put them right
Yeah.
in here and you can add places for additional talents.
Oh, sweet. And what's a rank mean in this sense? Is that
S-
the number of like because you can upgrade
Yeah.
the same thing multiple times?
Yeah, so for example, for grit, let's see, do you have grit on yours? Pilot. So skill jockey, for example, is a ranked one. So instead of putting it in a bunch of times, actually, I think in this case, rank in this might, yeah. So if you got 2 ranks of skill jockey, you could put 2 there, and then that way you know, okay, when I'm removing 1 setback die, I'm actually removing 2 because I have 2 of those.
Cool.
And
Okay. Thanks, Gabe.
that goes for Galaxy Mapper as well as another one of your ranked abilities.
Thanks.
For sure.
I'll get my question too.
Yeah.
So, as a Force user, I can use my XP to go into like a class tree, say like this one I'm on Sentinel, and or I can use it to get Force powers, right?
So you're gonna choose a specialization. Let's go. Let's hop. You want to play Sentinel? Is it-
No, I just use that as a random
Uh,
example. But
'Cause I was asking because Sentinel is my favorite Force and Destiny
oh, I was
career.
whichever one. I was gonna scan through them again, but I want one with a fair amount of Force powers, and then maybe some combat to supplement a little bit too. But
If you
we'll
want to
see.
go, if you want to go like Force Wizard, which you can totally do, I would
Yeah.
suggest Mystic Seer. Mystic
All right,
Seer.
I'll look through them, but I'll
Yeah,
probably go with that then.
so Mystic Seer, so no, so you're gonna choose the Mystic and the Seer, which is your career and specialization. You still get a specialization,
Okay.
but what you do is leave like 5 to 10 XP over, and then when you come down, you get to choose one of these. However, you have to meet the prerequisites, so you can't take battle meditation, which is probably for the best because it's really powerful. But so if you want to be like classic Jedi, you could do influence. So influence is these are not the droids you're looking for.
What you're looking for? Oh, that's my favorite.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So you can take this one, which it costs 10 XP. So you just got to make sure you have 10 XP over, and you can buy the base power of anyone.
Translation, nice.
Yeah, exactly. And oh, it's such a great talent tree because you get all these crazy things through. But there's also another one I just want to like Force C is also a really great force power because on each path, like so for this one, for example, you basically when you make initiative checks, you add your force die to your initiative check, which allows you to be like, oh, I'm actually foreseeing this combat coming, and you
Yeah.
get to roll your force die, and then you can expand it to all your teammates too with these upgrades.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's fun.
So
I like
force powers
that.
will let you do some funky stuff. Like enhance as another
Combined
example.
force wielder. That
Yeah.
sounds sick.
Yeah. So one of my favorites is doing force C with sense. Sense is the classic, oh, I feel people in the force.
Force, yeah.
So sense, the base ability is you get to sense all living things within short range. Or if you're engaged with
Oh,
someone, you can sense their emotional state. And then you can commit it and basically be able to anticipate where people are going to attack, and you upgrade the attacks against you by committing force die. So force die you can just like roll like normal powers, but there's also this ongoing effect where you commit it, and basically you don't have access to that force die anymore.
yeah,
But
when it's committed, yeah.
yeah, and so like for example, once per round, when an attack targets the force user, they upgrade their attack to the pool, which is really really strong.
Well, considering this is the one time we get to metagame, everyone is. It seems to be. Maybe I should play more support. I'll look for more supporting kind of stuff.
Yeah, also sounds like we don't have a
Buff with
face
team
as well.
buffer, team buff / healer would be great for us.
Yeah, I can see what I can do. I'm sure there's tons of force powers. I'm sure they lead themselves to that.
All right, Gabe. If I may
Yeah.
have a turn.
Yeah, of course.
I'm planning on being a Chadra fan.
Love it. Yes, love it.
What the hell?
He's the little guy on
Chadra
episode 4
fan?
who's sitting on the cantina stool. He's like a tiny little bat. So, so the way you measure characters in this is silhouettes, and Chadra fans are silhouette zeros, which means they're the smallest hitbox. They're like tiny. All right.
I'm gonna hide in the hair.
Oh, look at them.
A lot of this. I'm gonna hide in the.
I love it.
Well, I'm like,
Oh, I saw like animated drawings of these guys and they look cute, and then I saw the Star Wars version, and it was much more creepy.
Yeah, it's very creepy.
Chadra fan. They're so cute.
Yep.
Yeah, no, but the animated drawings from like artists who like Star Wars look very cute, and then there's like Star Wars, and it's just like a dwarf in a suit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
you just
for-
wearing it's the helmet. It's the helmet. You know.
Yeah,
Career skills. It's 4 from general career and then 2 from the specialized one.
Yes.
Okay.
Unless except for Louis, you only get 3 from your career. Because you get a
I
free
got 3
force power.
skills.
Yeah, you get 3
Oh,
from your
3 force
career.
power and 3 skills.
3 skills from your career and 2 from your specialization. Basically, you get a free rank in as a force. So for force powers, you have to get you have to unlock a force rating, and so you get a
Yeah.
force rating
Rating with
in
my
in
class.
lieu of an additional career skill. So you only get 3
Cool.
career skills and 2 specialization skills, as opposed to 4 and 2. All right, E, you're playing a Chadra fan.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you. Playing Chadra fan. I want to be our techie of the team.
Mhm. Do you want some suggestions?
Well, so I'm looking at the it's going to be a technician of
Nice.
some sort, right?
Nice. Yeah.
So the mechanic is an obvious one for the ship, right? Can I ask you though, like, one's like slicer is for hacking, mechanic is for ships, but like outlaw tech and like cyber tech.
Yeah, so cybertech is gonna be more for like doing cybernetic implants, which is cool.
No, I understand the theme of them, but it's just in a more, like Louis said, in a more metagamey sense. Is cyber tech like all that useful? Like, whereas like a mechanic would be like far more useful in obvious circumstances that I can think of. Is
Yes.
there anything like, okay, so cyber tech might be a little bit of a stretch for just like being useful all that much. with a party this
It's
size, right? Like,
I mean, the thing is, it's just more. I would say it's more like its talents are more niche,
yeah,
because they're so focused around cybernetic implant, which you're just not going to be doing right off the bat. So
yeah,
my poll, if you want to go more slicey, you want to go slicer. Outlaw Tech is more like generalist.
yeah. That's why I was like, I'm not really sure what this one means.
So for example, so like the Tinkerer is a really good talent. So you may add one additional hard point to a number of items equal to ranks in Tinkerer. Hard points are what allow you to upgrade items. So if you have one hard point, you can add like one additional upgrade to that item. So what this one does is you're constantly taking like random items and making them better. So with Tinkerer, you can take someone's armor and increase the soak by 1 by doing a modification on it. So this talent tree is really good for just like being like the person like a Jawa who's just like constantly like making random shit, you know? That's what this one is really
I
good
get
for.
you.
A mechanic is going to be like more base of what you would imagine. Are you talking about modder? Sorry.
I was sort of just interested in all of them to some extent.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also, like, droid tech makes a lot of sense, obviously.
Yeah, Droid and Cybertech are pretty straightforward. So the Outlaw Tech is going to be the most general of them. Mechanic is going to be more focused on like specific like repairs and like ship maintenance. I think again that's going to be very specific. If you want more generalist, I would go with Outlaw Tech. And then Modder is another really good one, the last one, because this gets you even more you kind of get the best of both of the outlaw tech and the mechanic tree. And this will give you skills like gunner, which means gunnery, which you is like for ship guns. So you can sit on the ship gun and be shooting, from the turrets.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, like you get this.
Okay, so,
Go
because
ahead.
yeah, I obviously want to be able to repair the ship, but I was like, do I need to specialize in that
No, no, no,
to
no, no,
really be
no.
effective?
No, you just
I've
need
got the
ranks and mechanics.
opportunity as an engineer. I've also got the opportunity to do some computers and/or mechanics. So let me know what side of that you want to go into. Not to say that like that we can't overlap, but
Mhm.
maybe we can spread it out if we want to specialize a little more.
Wait, so you're an engineer as well?
Engineer saboteur. So I'm thinking of like I know Wookiees they're supposed to be pretty brawny, but actually I'm thinking of like a little bit of intellect, also agility for
A
grenades.
svelte Wookiee.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah,
So
mechanics
okay,
more
so
repair, computers more like hacking into
yeah. Can you
understanding.
do both of those?
Have the opportunity. They're both intelligence, so I have the opportunity to take both of them because like out of the 6 career ones, 4 for engineer and 2 for saboteur. Mechanics is part of saboteur. However, I could go stealth and skullduggery, so I could get away from some of the more tech stuff and go into more like cunning agility kind of stuff. If you want to be more like tech specialist, right?
No, I don't need to at all. If you cover the tech in terms of like computers or in terms of the ship? Because I think one of us could cover
I would
One
say
could do
one.
mechanics.
I would say they're pretty overlapped.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
mechanics and computers are going to be on both of those. I believe both of those career starts for skills, and they're both based off int.
Yeah.
So you're going to have pretty good access to both of them. The thing that's going to change is your I don't know the saboteur talent tree, but just looking at like the technician modder. So for example, level 1 talent that costs 5 XP is choose one starship or vehicle with silhouette 3 or lower as a signature
Yeah,
vehicle.
that's what
Upgrade
I was thinking.
all
I was looking.
mechanics checks on that vehicle. Really good. Really, really good.
I was looking at modder. I was looking at that on the modder one because
I think saboteur is like getting down and dirty in combat. So
Yeah.
maybe I should actually get away from computers a little bit.
Let me pull it up. I'm not as familiar with that one.
Like I remember I look on my old sheet and I had 2 ranks into powerful blast, like straight from the start, because then I can get increased blast damage from explosive weapons, etc.
yeah,
Pierre.
you can buy skills that aren't on your specific tree, right?
Yeah, it just costs more XP.
What was
Yo,
that?
Pierre.
Hey,
I was thinking for our rival family, what's that like classic rival family from the south? The one that
you're thinking of
From the
oh
south.
fuck, I know which one you're talking about. It's the two families.
yeah, there's two families.
The sharks.
What are
and
they
the
called?
Oh,
What?
McCoys and the Hatfields. Hatfields and
Yeah, McCoys and Hatfields. Do you want to be one of those, Pierre?
Can we make our own names? Like what?
Yeah.
this is fun.
I don't want to be a Hatfield.
That's a very Wookiee name, though.
Wookiee Fields. Yeah.
You look up Wookiee names or something. There gotta be a name generator out there or something. Yeah, but totally, I know what you mean. We could absolutely be member of a rival family.
I'll look up Wookiee family names because I finished the character stuff that gave.
You guys can be the Montagues.
Capulets.
I was thinking that same thing the whole time.
So yeah, the interesting thing, the difference between like the engineer and the technician is that specifically the saboteur is it looks like you're going to be much more about like deconstructing things than like building things.
Explosive deconstruction.
So it's like Elijah's character could always be like building things up, whereas yours is constantly like taking them down to make explosives.
Okay. And for that kind of thing, I probably just need like mechanics, right?
Yeah, I would say just mechanics.
Okay.
But you could do like I think you could totally do like the cunning agility approach. So like I don't think you even need mechanics in this case because you could totally just have like Elijah's character make the explosives and then you're the one who's throwing them and setting them off.
I got it. Brawn, cunning, agility. That's me.
And you could just like bring one rank in mechanics. So like if anything goes wrong where you're like holding a ticking bomb and you're like, oh wait, I need to know how to do this, then you know how to do this.
I see.
What does cunning do again?
Yeah, cunning is basically like deception, intrigue, any of that good stuff. So it's gonna go off of skills like deception, streetwise, skullduggery, survival. All of that is cunning.
Hey, it's Yogi Beretta. He's streetwise.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you could be
Sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
I don't know if this exists. I remember playing KOTOR and stuff, and you can be like a gray Jedi, kind of like going across the line. Is that available in this game, or?
Yes. So the morality system is 0 to 100, and so you start at 50, unless you want to start as a Paragon, which is over 70, I believe, or a Dark Side Force user, which is below 30. And so you basically you just start at 50, which is imagine where you want to be. And so the way it works is I do a different system called Harmony, but basically the way it goes is you gain conflict in a session. And so let's just say like so if you just like roll up to some planet, walk off your ship, kill somebody with absolutely no reason and just get back on your ship and leave, that's an automatic that's automatic 10 conflict. Anytime you use a dark side force pip, it's an additional conflict. So there's like there's a scale and there's a table that kind of like dictates how much conflict you get. And then at the end of every session, you roll a d10 and you subtract your conflict from that d10.
Yeah.
I don't.
And what powers does the dark side give me? Does it give me anything in return? Or is it just...
Yeah, so if you become a Paragon, you get additional strain. If you go dark side, you get more wounds. So you have a higher wound threshold.
Okay.
And so when you go dark side, you don't have to spend dark side tokens to activate your dark side force powers, but you can no longer use light side. You no longer can use the light side pips.
Yeah.
Mine is called Harmony, so in the current system as written, there's no counter. Like if you do a good deed, it doesn't count for anything, which I think is stupid. Like because then you could do like 10 good things, one like remotely like you steal from somebody, and you could roll a d10 and go bad, and I think that's kind of garbage. I think that's just garbage. I think you should have a little bit more player control over the direction of your character's actions. Going back to Pierre and E for a second, just to help answer some questions, you will definitely have some overlap, like in your skills. But
That's
I think again, like the important part is like the narrative, like thinking about as a team, like how do you find your niche? And there might be some initial like tension, but I think that's totally fine. The system is not one where you need to have like a cleric, fighter, rogue. You can definitely have some overlap.
I'm pretty good. But I'm gonna be a modder, but I'm gonna buy a bunch of skills in the slicer.
Cool.
Or I'll be back in a few, guys. My family just wants to do like a little whatchamacallit, Skype Easter thing.
Yep, of
Cool.
course.
So the
Yep.
last thing that's really cool is you can unlock other talent trees. So if you're like getting into your talent tree and you're like, I really like, I'm an engineer and I want to hop over somewhere else, you let's say you get into the campaign and you're like, oh, I'm actually doing a lot of cybernetic implants. You can get that cyberneticist talent tree, and it just costs XP. So you can
But like when you say you can get it, not you can purchase a talent from it, but you can like add it to the ones for which talents are discounted.
well, so talents don't get discounted, but it's you can buy from that list.
Yeah.
You will then become a technician. Let's just say you're a modder technician, modder cyber tech, right?
Yeah.
And so you can start
How do I do
purchasing.
that?
It's 10 times the rank, like the number of talent trees you have. So it'd be 20 XP to unlock your second talent tree. However, that's in your career. You can also unlock talent trees from other careers. It's just an additional 10 XP. So to get, let's just say you're a Chadra fan and you're like, you know what? I really want to I really want to be a force user. I really want to just like get in and do some force stuff. You can then buy a universal tree, which is force sensitive exile, which gives you a force rating, and you get that tree, which is at the bottom of this.
Yeah.
Or let's just say you really want to be like a diplomat, like you're just like, I really want to be the face of our
But I don't.
party.
I don't.
I hear you, but
I don't want to do all this. This is very busy.
but you can unlock a diplomat tree. If it's go ahead.
The abilities you get, right? They are it costs 10 times the number you want to move something to.
Say that again. Sorry.
Like
Just
never
ask the
mind.
question again. I just like
Intellect.
did not process it.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I didn't phrase it very well. I want to up my intellect to 4. Does that cost me 40?
Are you starting at 3?
Yeah.
Yes, that'd be 40.
Okay. Yeah, my guy's really fucking smart.
Adam, do you mind just copy and paste the URL into Discord, and I can look at your character sheet.
Yeah.
Put it in.
Pierre and I are working on our last name. I think we got it.
Okay. Just post it in a character story discussion, so that's I can just like keep track.
Okay. And that takes a lot of my XP right away.
Yeah, characteristics. That's where you want to invest it. Just to give you a sense. Yeah, only once you get to the bottom of your talent trees and get.
I see. Okay.
Hey Chad, if you have questions while we're going, feel free to ask questions.
How much XP do we get when we level up?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. The pacing of this game is roughly like 5 XP an hour. But depending on it's much more like narratively driven too. So if you complete like an arc, I'll give you like an additional 5 to 10 XP. So on average, you'll get like 15 to 20 XP a session.
Yes, Pierre. Yes.
So Gabe,
what's up?
I have
the website provides.
I have 40, 50 XP left.
Yeah, I'd invest in another characteristic.
Another characteristic.
Yeah.
Done.
Let me look at the Chadra fan starting. Where are my species?
Oh man, okay.
Okay, guys. Pierre and I have our family names.
Let's hear it.
We are the Catadix.
Sorry.
And
just wait.
And our rival family is Gay Cook.
Was this a random name generator?
It's the Moon Gay Cook.
It's Mon Gay Cook. All right.
So this is our rivals.
Yeah.
That's their rival
The
name.
Gay Cooks.
The Gay Cooks.
This is from the.
And we are the Catadix.
It's a Kashyyyk sanctioned website.
Really?
Yeah. Gay Cook.
Yeah, we're Moon Guardians. That's what it means in Wookiee. So.
Okay.
What does gay cuck mean?
What does that mean?
Gay is fat or great.
Okay.
There's no cook or cuck.
What? I just saw it. That's how I. I wasn't making that up, man.
Oh, C-U-K.
Yeah. Oh,
Wait,
companion
where is
or
that?
spouse. So it's like big wife. Big,
Nice.
big husband.
That's something. Yeah. So what I'd probably do is I might move my willpower up to 2 or 3 if you want to spend it all on that.
Large
If
friend.
not, then I would just just fill out some of your talent tree. You can get some good stuff off of your talent tree.
Willpower is super worth it for me. Yeah, I know. I just, I don't mind him.
I would invest it for the strain upgrades.
Well, so I was thinking about that because that's a really good point because a lot of my stuff gives me strain. But modders have resolve, which whenever they suffer involuntarily suffer strain, they suffer 1 less strain per rank.
Yeah. Which is really good.
And that's only 5. So per like rank of strain reduced, that's a better investment of my XP.
Sure, but you have 50 right now. So I mean, you could go buck wild on this tree. No doubt about it. I always invest in characteristics, and having a 1 in a characteristic, like even outside of the strain, you're also you have 2 dice to roll for any willpower check, like coercion or vigilance, anything like that.
I'm gonna put at least 1 point into it. Would you put just both?
Not necessarily. Like depending on like how I wanted to go, like thinking about combat wise too. Like I might put a 2 in willpower and a 2 in brawn, and then I have 10 XP left over to start investing into my talent tree.
Nice.
Is it really that bad to have a
No,
1?
no.
Because I kind of like them being weak.
Yeah, then go weak. I'm just telling you what I would do. Like there's no wrong answers. There are literally no wrong answers here.
All right, I'll have my willpower to 2.
And then you still have 30 to invest in your into skills and your talent tree. That's you could get to the third talent down in this third row, which you could get fancy paint job, bro. Like that would be awesome.
Oh yeah, what does it cost to put in ranks? Like so, I've chosen all of my career skills.
Yep.
And I've invested in some of my characteristics, and I started with 90 XP. Now I have 30.
Uh-huh.
And then to add a rank, how does that work again?
To a skill, if it's career, it's 5 times the rank you're going to. So to get to rank 2 of a skill would be 10 XP.
I see. Okay,
if it is not a career skill, you have to add an additional 5 XP onto the end. So if it was rank 2, it would be 15 XP.
Right. Yeah, because I'm gonna need to go through the skill thing again as well. I don't think it'd be very hard. It's just you get how many of the initial.
Oh, because you said this is the time to do characteristics if you're doing characteristics. So maybe I won't be crazy into ranks and my tree just yet. But that's cool.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, I don't think you saved it.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that in a second. But
okay,
Gabe, to go from 1 willpower to 2 willpower, that'd be 20 XP, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I might take away my No, I don't know. How important is willpower?
If you as a pilot, you're going to suffer a decent amount of strain flying the ship.
So it's important.
For strain, it's pretty important. Other than that, as long as you're not like coercing people, it impacts your so vigilance, which is the another thing that we determine initiative with, but that's not super important. So willpower for strain is the only thing. So if you don't care about strain and you can get it through your talents, then I wouldn't worry about it.
I'll bump it up. I was going to put it into piloting, but I can always do piloting later. So I got 10 experience back from piloting. I'll get rid of my 2 ranks or my 2 abilities. I'll be a better pilot later.
Yeah, and also something I said earlier, I don't know if you caught this, you can't rank up a skill beyond 2 ranks at level 1.
Yeah.
At character start.
I just saved my character if you want to peek at it, Gabe. Oh, I have to post the actual thing. Okay, just kidding.
Yeah.
Gabe, how many skills do we pick?
4 from your career list, 2 from your specialization list.
Thank you. For...
Dude, it doesn't matter.
And that doesn't give you. Does that give you? That just gives you like efficiency in it.
Say that again.
Nothing.
You get.
Efficiency in it. It doesn't give you a rank.
Yeah, you get a free. So you should have a total of like around 10 career skills. It might be plus or minus a couple if they share with career and specialization. But you should start with from your career and specialization 6 free ranks in skills. So that means you'll have 1 rank in 6 different skills.
6 free ranks is good. Yeah, and if I, for instance, I get mechanics as an automatic one for being a Chadra fan, so I could have 2.
Yeah.
I could have a 2.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
Yo, Gabe, let me know what you think of my character.
So far,
can't go
looks good. Wookiee Rage motivation.
And I was thinking, as part of my background, I could do for the obligation. I owe one of the Jabbas or one of the Hutts.
Okay.
Some money, or like I in order to get my ship, I had to like go into serious debt.
Yeah, that could also be favor. So maybe you like owe a big favor, like well, so where we're gonna start out is you're not gonna have a ship. The first mission is gonna be getting a ship.
Okay.
So maybe someone could have like done you a favor to hook you up with this job you're about to get. So I can give the narrative setting before like we dive too much in. I have like an intro scroll. I wanted to do that when we first play, but I could totally just run it now, or I could just post the description of where you guys are at.
I'm fine with the initial hook being the reason I owe the big favor.
Cool.
Hey, how much money do we start with?
500 credits. So
Oh,
there's
my God.
one other thing. Yeah, it's not a lot, unfortunately, actually.
I thought it was a lot. Oh. I guess it's a lot of inflation.
Yeah. So
Gabe, how come some? Oh, sorry. If you're in the middle. Of
I am posting in downtown RP. I'm posting the text of the intro scroll, and we'll just do the whole like theatrics of it later. But this will help you give a sense of the setting.
Down.
Gabe,
Yeah.
why do some skills have different abilities you can use for them, like preset on this thing?
What are you talking about?
On the SW sheets, like I'm looking at streetwise, it can be int or cunning.
I'm not sure. I think they might have made that for so for example, lightsaber I do know is you can get different talents to make different characteristics with them. So all the different careers in Force and Destiny have a specialization that has a different lightsaber form, and they use different characteristics for their lightsaber check. There might be some skills that allow you to use int for they'd be a talent that say when you roll streetwise you can roll int instead. But I've never seen those, so I'm not entirely sure where those are coming from. Leave them so as they're written. Charm should be presence, negotiation should be presence, streetwise should be cunning, survival should be cunning, and lightsaber should be brawn.
Yeah, I think that's how they are.
Lightsabers are for all about caster.
All about the muscle. It's all about how hard you can swing the weightless blade.
Sure. Lightsabers are pretty dope.
Turn it on and off though, because you don't have to hit anybody with it. Just turn it on and kill them.
I think I'm gonna get. So you're gonna be the pilot, Adam, right?
Yeah.
Pilot.
Okay, sweet. I'm gonna get pilot planetary though.
I have pilot planetary and pilot. I got both. I'm just like good at ships.
Yeah. No, but I that can be redundant because I'm gonna want my own vehicle at some point. Like
If
Oh,
somebody like gets a space cold, we gotta have somebody who can back up pilot. Yeah.
But if we don't have to have a rank in pilot space, do we?
Not to fly a ship, no. You can still do it just on your agility alone.
On my sheer talent.
Yeah, so the other thing that I want to go over is for oops. So I'm posting a link that has also in Downtime RP, which has all of the obligations in it. If you just navigate to the bottom, there's a obligation, and so you can take additional obligation at the start of the game, that magnitude, to get additional credits and or XP.
Oh, cool.
So
Oh,
Adam,
shit, okay.
so Adam, you're going to start with a magnitude of 10 obligations. So if you want to take additional 10 to get up to 20, you can take this is wrong in here. So you could take an additional I think it's 2,500 credits, or you could take an additional 1,000 credits and 10 experience, and 5 experience, sorry, or you could take an additional 10 experience. I'll write those out.
Oh, what are those? Those are from obligations and stuff. I could so use extra.
Is that not coming from my current obligation?
Yeah, so it just add on to what you currently have. So the magnitude of that same favor could stay the same, right? So let's say you have an additional, let's say you take the additional 2,500 credits, maybe the favor you made with whatever hut set up this job and gave you some pocket change to get there. So now you have 2,500 additional credits in your pocket, or maybe that came in the form of equipment, which you can spend it on, or it's additional XP saying like, you did this job for him to set you up here, and that's how you got those additional XPs.
Got it. I'll probably do the one that gives me the most XP plus some credits. And where am I going to write that, Gabe?
So on your sheet, if you scroll down to where it says obligations, it's right next to motivations.
Yeah, I have the obligations.
Yeah, so you just write favor, write like a brief description of the favor that was given, and then credits and XP can just go where they want. And just after the obligation name, so if it's favor, if that's what you want to do, just do parentheses and it's going to be 20 as the number.
Okay, so you see my character sheet, so is this okay?
Yeah.
I'll save it so you can see
Yeah.
the 20.
I owe a huge favor. Love
Yeah.
it. Yeah. That's fine.
So then I get 1,000 credits and 10 more XP?
5 XP.
Oh, yeah, I want the 10 XP one.
Then it's just straight 10 XP.
Oh.
Question.
Yeah.
To Adam.
Yeah.
Astrogation skill.
Astrogation, you're saying?
Yeah.
I have a career in it, but I'm not, like, I'm probably not going to do anything past that.
You mean you have like a career skill rank?
Yeah.
Okay.
I figured I should have something, but I didn't want that.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, astrogation could be important to have, because if you mess up a astrogation jump,
you're kind of our pilot dude, you know.
Yeah, that's why I took a career in it.
And it costs 5 XP, Gabe, to up a skill, or is it 5 plus the
5 times the rank you're going to if it's a career skill. So for the first rank, it's 5, second rank 10, 15, etc. For a non-career skill, it's 5 times the rank you're going to plus an additional 5 XP. So 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
What happens if you can't get more skills and you have dice to roll in that?
Yeah, you max out at 5 ranks in a skill.
So generally speaking, even it's better to have your career skills in things that you can pour more skill ranked into, because you can always cross class for a couple, then they won't cost you as much.
Yeah. So getting new, if you want to be strategic with what talent trees you're going into, getting new careers with career skills is definitely valuable, because then it makes the long-term investment cheaper. And so let's say you're put like 5 ranks into lightsaber and you have a brawn of 1, you're gonna just flip the algorithm. So the lower of the 2 numbers becomes the number of yellow dice, and the higher number becomes the yellow dice. And that's just I just explain it the other way because you're not gonna have more ranks in a skill than you do have characteristics usually at character start.
Yeah.
I'm just running in the
Okay,
restroom real quick. I have to pee so bad, but I'll be right back.
I get you.
Backgrounds. Okay, here we go. Let's milk some XP. Where is it? I gotta find that.
Gabe, do I need to do anything else right now?
He went to
In
the
the
bathroom.
bathroom.
Oh. Big Hazel's.
Down and out. Obligation.
What are some Chadra fan names?
Are you a fan of the Chadra?
A Chadra fan, one might say.
I was a fan before they were Chadra.
Guys, I'm
Pre-fan
so excited to
Chadra.
play this.
A Chadra pre-fan?
Pre-fan?
I'm so excited to play Star Wars with you guys. This is gonna be so much fun.
This could be great. I'm so glad Gabe knows what's going on.
All the rules.
Every single one.
No, Julie, we're
Also,
building
that we-
characters.
It's great that there's this little system of magically rolling the dice and then it finds you the outcome immediately. Like, it's nice that they have the physical dice. But
Turgo. That sounds like a good Chadra fan name.
what name? Sorry,
Packy Turgo.
Packy. Hey Turgo.
Kakwi Turgo.
Hackwe. Yeah.
Do you want the Windex or are you just using soap?
Family. I have a family obligation.
Okay, here we go. Your name. Turbo.
Shoot,
Gabe, do I need to do anything else?
Cat a dick. Just
I'll wait till everyone catches up. That's fine.
Yeah, yes, please. And
tree
where are
gate.
those other things? We got. Where do we get obligations so we can get more XP and stuff? Duty morality, yeah. Gabo Gabo. All right.
That's your name.
We got 4 players.
Elijah, it makes me think of Avogadro, like Avogadro's number.
Yes.
We're getting 10 obligations.
Avogadro's number.
1,000 credits or plus 10 experience. So
Yeah.
what is there a list of stuff we can just buy potentially? Oh, gotcha. Thank you. Thanks, man. Yeah.
500 credits, you mean?
But if I'm just looking at like grenades, that's all I need. That's all.
All I'm gonna buy is a bowcaster, basically, if I can afford it.
Search it.
Shit, dude.
Bowcaster. What is coordination versus discipline? What do they both do? Coordination. What about, thank you. What about knowledge outer rim versus knowledge education? Do you have like an opinion which of those would be generally more useful? Like knowledge outer rim, what does that cover? Everything in the outer rim, but obviously it can't cover everything because that in theory could cover education in the outer rim. You know what I mean? So Okay. Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you very much. Your skills. Skills can go up to 5 ranks. You said right, but they really max out your dice, so it's more likely that you won't go that high. So is it worth us trying to bump up our skills really early, or are talents sort of more useful at first? Yeah, I already have that at 2 automatically. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Hey, so I switched to the 1,000 credits and 5 XP so I could get a bowcaster. But other than that, did I build my character in like not a suboptimal way? Like, is it okay?
Optimalness is not the same in this game. You don't have to worry
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure I wouldn't be useless. Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Can I change both the wound and the strain to current being 0? Cool.
Like they have to deal in one attack, or oh,
All right.
Oh God. Okay, my guy has an obsession. Where do I put that? Under. Here we go. Obsession.
Yeah.
What about like how does encumbrance work? Okay, yeah. Okay. No problem. Gotcha.
So Gabe, I'll be able to buy a bowcaster plus some. Cool. Yeah. Gotcha. Sweet. Awesome. I just want to say thanks again, Gabe, for DMing and like leading us through all this. I'm really excited.
I'm so happy to finally play some Star Wars.
Yo, hell yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned this strain. I'm gonna take 2 ranks of resolve, I think, with this extra. Or does it? So each time you get something. First time it costs 5. Does it cost 5 again to get it, or?
So you can't buy that same talent twice, Pierre. You have to pick it up later on the talent tree, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So you're the saboteur, correct?
Yeah. No worries. Okay.
Yeah.
I will invest that 5 points elsewhere.
Yep. So you could get resolve later down on the 3rd tier, but
Actually, you know what? Because you go to I leveled up my ranged light for grenades, so that's actually gonna take my 10 XP for my family obligation. Okay.
oh, you have family. Nice, 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 nice. Yeah, and so also rapid recovery. After every like combat encounter, you get to roll cool or resiliency, and whatever you don't roll against the difficulty, and whatever you get that much strain back. So that's where rapid recovery comes into is when healing strain after an encounter, you heal 1 additional strain per this.
Oh, that's really good.
So if you had resolve and rapid recovery, you're covering some bases for that strain.
Maybe I don't want to go too much into my skills just yet. Maybe I want to get rapid recovery. Yeah.
Yeah, it's either way works really. It's
I like it. I think that's a really good.
This is just a general comment and question. I'm considering my last skill pilot space and gunnery, I think.
piloting space and gunnery. Okay.
And I know Adam already has pilot space. but-
I also have gunnery too. Well,
Oh, really?
He's Chewbacca.
But
yeah,
rem- most ships have multiple guns, so having multiple people with gunnery is not a bad thing.
All right.
when in doubt, Elijah, I'm Chewbacca for the start.
Okay, well, if it's when in doubt, then I should probably get
Wait,
space
don't-
piloting.
Oh, I know why.
You got me. You got me.
Yo, Adam, do you have any skullduggery?
No.
Okay, I'll go there. I'll go there a little bit.
Yeah, I think Pierre, it makes most sense for your character to be
Yeah.
the the slunking around the shadows type.
I've got some
Planted
stealthy
bombs.
Adam, also, I just want you to know if you don't. I'm happy to be the pilot and mechanic because it's like very in my character. So if you don't have to take pilot spacecraft.
Oh no, I really want to be focused on.
On
So
what?
that's gonna be less. That's where I'm gonna diverge from Chewbacca. I think. My entire thing is ships.
I mean, Chewbacca's about ships too, but yeah.
It's not an original idea, Adam, but nice try.
I'm not saying I'm
No,
gonna.
I'm just fucking with you. I'm fucking with you. I do want to make one like admittance is that like ship and vehicle stuff in this game is like the worst part of the system. Is like just flat out. It's not bad. It's just really chunky. So I make a lot of like DM house rules around it.
What does that mean for us though?
Not much. Not much. All your stuff, anything you take, I will make sure is useful. Like I'm not gonna you're not gonna take something and it's gonna be unuseful. That's just not fun. So anything you take, any component of your character that you're really excited about will be important to the game.
Okay, sweet.
And I'll find ways to make like multiple piloting people like so you can co-pilot right, like so that's a component where you can be rolling piloting checks and boosting atoms or doing like additional things. So like in ship combat there's a bunch of different jobs people can have, and specifically for that I stretch the Star Wars lore of like how spaceship battles work to make sure people aren't just like standing around doing nothing.
All right. Well, now I'm debating just between upping my cunning to 3 or just buying a ton of skills. Talents, I mean. I can't do both.
You're going modder, right?
Yes. I could take some obligations.
Yeah, I would always take additional obligation.
All right, I'll do plus 10. Plus 10 obligation.
All right,
Oh,
so
wait, Gabe, can I do more obligations to get more XP?
you can't, or else you could just like theoretically do it all. No, you're gonna max out at 20 obligation.
Okay, cool.
I am doing that.
I mean, yeah, why not, right?
Yeah, why not?
Gabe's like so many story beats coming for me for free.
I won't. I usually don't roll the first
Hey,
session.
This is my
it's-
obligation, guys. This is my obligation for character story discussion.
Fast car shooting stars, all the lights.
Nice.
These beats are dope.
What else got anything that important, I guess, or is it more just character creation stuff?
I'm sure there's important stuff. I
Yeah,
don't remember, to
I'll
be perfectly
probably-
honest.
It's
But
not like equipment
Oh,
stuff coming
Gabe,
there.
Gabe, question.
yeah, what's
I have
up?
another question. These ones that are ranked talents, ranked talents.
Yeah.
How many times can we get them?
So they stack, so you can't buy one individual talent multiple times, but they stack with the other ones in the tree. Or in other trees. So like if you're looking at jury rigged or tinkerer, right? I think those both stack. Yeah, so like those stack, but you have to get, so like tinkerer, right? You could start with that first one, go down to gearhead, and then over to tinkerer again, and then they stack. if that makes sense.
One additional hard point to a number of items equal to ranks in Tinkerer. I'm gonna need to learn how to do all that too.
Yeah, so let's just say the bowcaster. Let's say you like sneakily steal the bowcaster from your teammate, who's Kiev. Is that Kiev?
Yeah.
Kiev. So this
Never forget.
the base of this only has 2 hard points, and so there's a bunch of modifications that you can put on any item. Like and so you would move that up to 4 hard points, which is really really good. With modifications and attachments, you could build out like a sling that makes it so as an incidental, Kiev can wield his bowcaster. He no longer has to spend a maneuver to use it. Or you can make it superior, which takes 2 hard points, which means he gets automatic successes and advantages anytime he uses the blast. So there's so many different attachments. I can send you a list of those.
Sure.
But that's a
the way
really
this
good talent. It's a really good
The way
talent.
this works may add 1 additional hard point to a number of items equal to ranks in Tinkerer. So I get 1, obviously. So I could pick 1 thing, right? And that can't be. I can't change it later.
No, you totally can. Totally can. You just can. So like, if you only have 1 rank in Tinkerer, what item you have?
One at a time. One
Yeah,
at a time.
yeah. But once you get the 2nd rank, 2 different items can have 1 additional hard point.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
Yep.
and then what does it cost me to modify things that require hard
Yeah, mechanics checks predominantly.
points? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
And I'll handle all the other things. I'll just tell you what to roll predominantly and give you a list of things you want to try. It gets increasing. So like with 1 item, it gets harder to modify as you go. So the way it works is you make an attachment to an item and then do additional modifications after that.
What attachment? You want
So
attachment?
yeah, so like this website that I sent that has all the items, it's called eWeb Development GitHub. There's a list of attachments. The last tab is a list of attachments.
Oh, Jesus.
So you could attach a Bantha's Eye laser sight, which the base mods, after you attach it, you add advantage to successful mod check.
Okay, add advantage to successful check.
And so some of them have additional modifications that you can add on top of it.
1 weapon, 1 armor. Right. And this does not say how many hard points it takes, though.
Yep, HP all the way over on the right.
That's yep, hard points. Got it.
Yeah.
Like, these have hit points? Okay.
No, they're hard points. Those are hard points. So like for example, let's say you wanted to add the fine-tuned micro thrusters to like a piece of armor, right? So this is going to be sorry, that's a vehicle mod. We don't want to do that right now. Let's look at armor or weapons. All right, so armor. So you could do an amphibious modification to that's still goddamn. Okay, here, amphibious modification to your armor mod. So the base modification provides up to 5 hours of oxygen in submersive or airless environments. Do not protect from vacuum, so they're not good for space. It only costs 1 hard point, and you have to have 500 credits worth of materials. So, so as you're going, if you're just passively saying like, "Hey Gabe, I want to collect or like dismantle this ship for pieces," we'll make a mechanics check. You'll deconstruct it, and I'll say, "Okay, you were able to get X amount of credits of scrap metal that you can like store on your ship or whatever." And so you get these 2 base modifications. Then you can add additional modifications where you can increase the oxygen supply by 2 hours. That's going to be an additional harder roll to upgrade the modification. The base attachment usually is not very hard. It's like an average, I want to say. Plus if there's any additional like setbacks or whatever that come from it. So like attaching stuff isn't the hard part. Upgrading it becomes the more difficult part.
Hey, Gabe. And are these the only
There's bunches there, dude.
I'll show more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
There's so many.
Gabe,
Yeah. What's up, Adam?
what?
Okay.
Where was the armor that you were recommending earlier? I don't see it.
Armor. So search by price, and that'll just give you a sense of what you can buy. So if you click the price button,
clothing wasn't on
Yeah,
that
I
list,
did.
but heavy
The-
clothing, it's 1
I have
silver
250
costs-
credits left. But you said there was like a medium something or
yeah. So if you just search by price, you can kind of see.
There's lots of stuff better than heavy clothing.
There's lots better than heavy clothing. That's the one I referenced specifically.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
All right, can I have like 3 questions?
Yeah.
So I guess the first one, when I was talking to my family, there's something that's like 2,500 credits, 1,000 credits, and 5 XP.
Yeah.
10 XP. What's that about?
Yeah, so obligations, Louis. So I posted something on Obsidian Portal, which has a list of obligations.
Yeah.
You pick one of those, and you start with a base 10 obligation. If you want to up it to 20, you can get one of those options I posted in where did I post it? Downtime RP.
Yeah.
So
I
you
haven't pulled it up.
Yep, so you could take 2,500 credits, 1,000 credits, and 5 XP, or just 10 XP. Any of that you can add to your character sheet for an additional, just increasing your obligation magnitude up to 20. You can also have multiple obligations, just FYI. You can take 2 that are both worth 10, one that's 5, one that's 15. You can do as many as you want if you want to have multiple.
All right. All right.
Then, what was the other one? Oh, since I am a Force user in the world, how is the Force treated generally in this day and age?
In this day and age, we're playing post episode 6, so it's much more open, but also like there's still like the fear that was kind of like cultivated in the Outer Rim, so you can't just like walk around and use it. There is some like lingering awareness that Luke is setting up a Jedi school, but it's not like you use the Force and you get killed. But people will look at you funny for sure, and local like law enforcement might also.
It's definitely not
I
kosher.
like you.
Yeah. So you don't want to be
Alright, so-
flamboyant or show off. Well, I mean, you could do whatever the hell you want. You could totally be show offy about it.
Yeah. But don't.
Understand there will be consequences for this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I should want to get that idea, and then I had another one. It'll come back to me though.
Sure. Let me just read so everybody while we're doing like thinking about character backstories and stuff like that. I just want to read the intro scroll, which we'll do this with all its theatrics and the music when we actually start playing. But so the setting is the New Republic has completed a successful attack against the crumbling empire on the planet of Danan, home of a powerful imperial fortress. Despite the victory, the New Republic cannot continue an open campaign against the empire, and a cold war blankets the galaxy. The new Chancellor, Mon Mothma, reinstates Sector Rangers in order to provide security and oversight in the Outer Rim territories while rooting out the fractured forces of the Empire. With very little resources and less oversight, the Rangers are stretched thin. And you all will be coming into play as one such crew of newly appointed Rangers embark on their first mission, a job interview on the junkyard planet of Lotho Minor. So yeah, you all will be like have basically somehow applied or gotten suggested or recommended for this sector ranger position, which are basically you're going to be space cowboys in the Outer Rim, doing either good things or bad things depending on how you want to play it, and you'll be shuttled basically missions, or you'll discover missions that you could go on. So basically you all could end up like doing a bunch of missions for a hut if you really wanted to, or you could check back in with the New Republic and say, hey, we're looking for more jobs, any rumors, etc. So there'll be a couple outlets to access different missions.
This quest can we end every session on a black screen, and in the bottom left-hand corner it says "See you later, Space Cowboy."
Of course.
You, Louis. I was
Of
thinking the
course.
same.
Of course. And Louis, this table that I posted of backgrounds, obligations, duties, and moralities, you're also going to choose a morality, which is a emotional strength and an emotional weakness. So you're going to have an obligation.
I remember that looking through the Force.
Cool.
A game can have more than one obsession or obligation, right?
Yes. And you just have to have the. Yeah, of course. And
Yo, does anyone have an extra 50 credits? I really want to get the Mark III flak vest because of my brother and his explosives.
that might be something to ask.
How many credits we start with?
I was looking at that
500
too, yeah.
base, but you can get additional ones from getting additional obligation.
We should get matching black vests. Like
Yeah.
brothers.
Well, I'm 50 credits short of the flak vest right now, Pierre.
I'm gonna loan you 50
What
credits.
else did you buy?
You are the best, Elijah. I will get you that with interest.
Yeah, we gotta have. I mean, it's a package deal. We have to have vests, right? That's the only reason we got hired onto this job.
I need to write
2
down.
boogies and a black
I'm
vest.
gonna write down that
Mark
you owe me some money.
3 flak vest. Thanks for reminding me. All right. That's a pretty
Who
penny
knows?
though. Jeez.
Adams Wookie owes
Yeah.
you money.
Yeah, I have a name. I have a name. This is my name, Elijah.
I just spelled it Kiev like Ukraine. Yep.
Hey, it's Kiev and Yogi. Hey.
I love this.
Right.
What's the other obligation you're taking, E?
Well, I was so my guy and Kiev like also clearly have a lot of common interests. They like vehicles. But I was thinking my guy has a little bit of a need for speed. You know, the fast cars, shooting stars, all of the lights,
Uh-huh.
all of the lights.
There is
And
there is an obligation. Oh, fudge. I can't remember what it is, but it's basically like Daredevil. Like you want to like
yeah,
let me find it.
kind of like that.
Well, I have no monies now.
So he lives life fast.
On the edge.
Guys, we have no one that can actually talk to people, right?
Nope.
Yeah, that's what nerds do, Louis.
Not
I
this
just
nerd.
because I've been looking through the races, and I'm just like, I thought I knew Star Wars like somewhat well, at least with, like 6 and below. But this is just making me realize I just know like no species whatsoever.
Deep amateur.
But
So one other thing
also, I was looking for things that can give you like skills in either like persuasion or whatever the talking skill is. So far, I found human. That's it. I'm like halfway through, unless I missed them.
so E, the one I was thinking of was called Adrenaline Rush, is an obligation.
Yeah, that's sort of what that's the one.
Yeah, and there's a little mechanical thing, like should the character go an entire session without combat or other daring act of any kind, the GM may add a penalty of setback die to skill checks in the next session. I won't do that, but I think I trust you all to like lean into your obligations and in any other components to your character's motivation. So I'm not too worried about that. Also, if you all want to there's this amazing fan-made character generator. I didn't want to use it for the first character you make because it's really helpful to go through and do it all yourself to start. But it's called Ogdudes. It's on the Legends of the Galaxy link that I posted. I highly recommend it. It's super easy to make characters in. And yeah, I just again recommend doing it by yourself a couple times so you understand the dice pool. Because I've started people out just by using this and they don't understand the system at all, and it's kind of frustrating.
Hey, Gabe, quick question.
What's up?
For our morality things, I chose a good one and a bad one.
Okay. You don't have to, but that's totally fine. Yeah, you totally can.
Well, I thought you said we're supposed to.
Only force users have to. The emotional strength and weakness is how you calculate their force powers. But you could totally have a morality. There's no downside to it at all.
I was about to be like, where was I supposed to do that?
It's on the same place you find the obligation on the Obsidian portal. There's a
Fuck.
I just
could've
added
spent-
one emotional strength and one emotional weakness.
Sure, that's fine. If it helps you roleplay your character, that's fine.
Well, it's pretty easy. I got pride for my family, and I'm also reckless with my brother.
That makes plenty of sense.
Blast knuckles. One day I'll be able to blow people up by punching.
Bro, those are so much fun. For a Wookiee too. Oh.
500 credits. That's all. That's it. That's like no, I can't. Can't do it. We need our vests. That's fine. Okay. If anybody needs 25 credits for something, I'm gonna have a look.
Oh, okay. In terms of what I get, I assume I won't have a lightsaber or anything like that.
Oh, most certainly not. Most
Yeah,
certainly
I have
not.
a little blaster.
Not a chance in hell, man. Yeah.
You can have a training stick. It's 50
What do I
credits.
get?
It's training stick is 50 credits and it's a
Nice.
wooden stick.
Sick.
Um,
Watch out, boys.
if you, again, just like look through the items, so the eWeb development website I sent, you can search by different skills or anything like that. So if you go down to skills, you can
So I think
search
it's
by.
find out like what I do before I get a.
Yeah, so you could start with an ancient sword. It's 350 credits. The damage is brawn +2. So some qualities that I'll go through. So defensive gives you a melee defense on a melee item. It says defensive 1, so that gives you a melee defense, which is really good. Breach. So for lightsabers, breach ignore 10 points of soak, which is really, really good. Sunder is you deal 1 point of damage to an item, and so if you get 3 points of damage on any item, it's destroyed. And so for each one of these, usually, so for anything that says, let's see, like knockdown, linked, snared, any of that, you need 2 advantages to trigger. Vicious, pierce, defensive, breach, all of those are just automatic. So pierce is you ignore the number of soak that the number is there. So I'll say pierce 1, pierce 2, pierce 3. Those ignore that much soak, which is really, really good. Vicious, you add that number. So vicious 3, you would add +30 to any critical hit. So that's also really good at dealing damage. Linked is basically you have to have 2 of that weapon or whatever. So this is like for a double-bladed lightsaber hilt. For a double-bladed lightsaber, linked 1. If you get 2 advantages, you can trigger an additional hit with that lightsaber. And so some blasters will also say linked. Dual wielding in this system is really easy. Basically, you if you're using the same weapon, it's just like that check. Let's just say you're dual wielding like blaster pistols. It's gonna be a base ranged light check, and you just increase the difficulty once. So if you're at short range, which is normally 1 purple, it becomes 2. And all you need is 2 advantages to trigger the second hit. Also for like your I believe you have cumbersome 3 for your bowcaster. For that, you just need to have cumbersome is you need to have the number that it says. So cumbersome 3, you need to have at least 3 brawn, which I believe you're fine. And unwieldy is for agility. So if you have unwieldy 3, you need to have at least 3 agility, or else you'll suffer setback dice to it. Which I think you're fine on your bowcaster, Adam.
Wait, Gabe, when I looked at the bowcaster, it said encumbrance 5. Oh, it's cumbersome 3.
Yeah, it's a quality.
Okay, so that means I have to have brawn 3 in order to use it. Saying?
Yeah,
use
but yeah, you're already you have that, so you're no worries.
Okay, and I did check. I have a total encumbrance of 8, and I have 8 total,
Nice,
I think.
nice. Yeah, there's also lots of really cool gear, guys. I know you don't have any money, but like
I have a little bit. I was about to ask you, where can I go and look it up?
The eWeb development website that I posted. I think it's in downtown. No, I don't remember where I posted it. Sorry, I've been posting. I should have.
Links. They all kind of look the same.
I'll just post it again in. Oh, it's right there. It's right in general. I did dash items, exclamation mark. It's second from the bottom.
Second from the bottom of the pinned.
General chat. Just in general chat.
Second from the bottom. This eWeb development GitHub.
Yes.
Oh right. Right. Let's look at some gear, yo. Heavy Hydra spanner.
Yeah, they have a whole like so this system is also ridiculous because Fantasy Flight Games literally makes their people pay for everything. And so each career has its own source book that has additional like benefit rules, additional items, additional everything. So you have to buy not only the 3 core rule books, which are each $60 each, then you have to buy all the source books, which are like $40. And there's so many careers. There's like 6 per core rule book. So you're already at like 18 source books. It's absurd. And then they have era source books. Then they have like, oh my God,
Dude, that's ridiculous. Doesn't make any sense.
It's no, it makes lots of sense. They make lots of money. Well,
it's Wizard
Who buys all that?
not me. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's not exactly like Paradox.
Um,
You put out a base game and then just you pay for every little improvement.
Yeah,
Some money
yeah.
and buy a protocol droid.
Yeah, you could. You could totally have a protocol droid boy.
Wait a
Force,
second.
not a
Wait,
force.
what am I doing with frag grenades when I can get Gungan plasma balls? These are so cheap. These are amazing. $20? Are you kidding
Hey,
me?
guys, an all-terrain exploration droid. That's straight up. That's an ATST. That's
There are like recon droids though that are really really good and pretty cheap.
really.
Yeah, it's
I have
250
450
credits.
credits.
How
What?
much? You have
I have
450?
400.
Yeah, so you could with 450 you could get the recon remote, which is it's basically like a probe droid you could throw out, but it's like the size of like a softball. And you can just like throw out and have it like scout for you.
Like the Darth Maul ones.
Darth Maul ones,
You have some recon drones.
maybe. Sure, I'll say yes. They're just like yes, little
Why
small
not?
things.
Backpack is 50 credits. That's ridiculous. I am definitely getting a backpack.
There's also I
Not
can't remember the
carry a
name
lot.
of it. It's like a mechanics kit or something like that, or tool kit, and it allows you to add boost die to all of your mechanics rolls. Let me see if I can find it.
Really. Maybe I'll buy like a liter of Bacta. Maybe I'll buy like 5 liters of Bacta.
You could do that. There are stim packs, which are basically health potions. They just automatically just give you 5 wounds back.
What does Bacta do then?
They cure critical hits.
Fills your tank.
Everybody play
Yep.
Republic Commandos? Everybody?
Yeah,
Public
love that
Commandos?
game.
Yeah, yeah.
I never played Commandos. I still have it.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. Oh, Pierre and Adam and potentially Louis. I really have to ask you guys something.
So,
Total non sequitur. This. Sorry, Gabe. It's. But I've been waiting patiently to have all of you guys in one place. I decided while I was in quarantine that I was gonna play through Fallout New Vegas finally,
oh, I haven't done that either.
and just do it. So I got it, the Ultimate Edition. I downloaded a whole bunch of stuff. I'm using the Vortex Mod Manager,
Yep.
Nexus mods, and I am using all these mods on it. And basically, I can't play.
Oh.
Oh,
Like I can. At first, it was having a problem where when I exited the initial room, the first place where you get found and wake up and do all your stat stuff,
Yeah.
it would crash every time I tried to load the outside world. And then I got past it, but it would now it like gets past that sometimes. But when I reload save files, it basically loads me in and then it crashes.
can you uninstall the mods?
Regular game, does that work?
Just like
No mods?
nothing but.
Just to see, because then it's hard to spot exactly which mod is a culprit, but some of them aren't compatible with each other. And you'd hope that with a mod manager that it can sort it all out for you, like that's what they're for. But sometimes, and I've had this problem with like Fallout 4, where I just put all these mods in and then something goes wrong and I don't know what it is, so I just start like taking things away and building it up from the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess that's where you go.
Do you have to start over every time you do that? Because I know if you are playing with mods on and you take one off, and if it added a whole bunch of stuff, sometimes that can crash your game.
That's a good point. Yeah, probably to be safe, restarting's the way to go, unfortunately.
Like restarting every time, adding a mod back each time to see if it works.
I mean, yeah, starting a new game like with nothing, and then add a mod, see how it goes. Add another mod, see how it goes.
Can you always add in mods? Does that not?
I think so. Yeah, you can add and subtract, but I think as you're suggesting, like if you have weird assets of some mod file that, and then you remove it, it's gonna get confused and maybe mess up. I know that's how it is for Gary's mod in Minecraft. It just doesn't agree.
Thanks for the advice, Adam. You got anything? Never mind.
I think he muted himself.
Yeah, Pierre gave pretty solid advice. Yeah, I would just like start a fresh game, add a mod, see if the game runs, keep doing that until you build up your full mod pack, and then.
Hey, that's great. I'm happy to do that approach. Yeah, and that never happened to me with Fallout 4. Actually, I never had a real problem with it.
Well, New Vegas is like the buggiest game, so
And
like
that's
I literally couldn't finish it at release.
Yeah, the last time I played New Vegas, I think I was running with the mod that was like power armor had or like there were different recon goggles like night vision and stuff, and like I just barely got that to work. But oh man, it's worth it. Whatever you're playing with. Yeah, hell of a game.
Yeah, that's what I had to do. I modded the crap out of Skyrim, and at some point it just stopped, and I was like,
Yeah.
darn,
Yeah,
and I just had
it
to
did the same.
like
All right, I
peel
guess I'll
back.
have to take out the Thomas the Tank engine.
No, that was the last
Exactly.
one to come. That was the last one to go. Anything else is expendable, not Thomas.
That's what I wanted to, have all the nice new texture packs and stuff. Now you're making me think about it. I was like, I could always replay Fallout 4, but you guys always spoke so highly of New Vegas.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite. Series.
3 is my personal favorite, honestly.
It's good. I didn't feel like I had as much flexibility trying out weapons and stuff because you can't repair unique weapons in Fallout 3, but you can in New Vegas with the close enough repair perk. Like I love that you could take a metal armor and repair super duper power armor. Because in Fallout 3, like whatever you had a certain amount of durability. Now it gets, or like you had a certain amount of ammunition, and like I just feel like New Vegas was more of a sandbox, I guess, for me, and it had a different color palette. Sometimes like Fallout 3 had a better soundtrack. Definitely, the radio system was amazing. But I don't know. I guess I just saw a little more variety in New Vegas with the DLCs and stuff.
I thought the Capital Wasteland was a more immersive environment,
Okay.
and like it just had like more to do versus like New Vegas. There was more color and there was more variety, but it felt less cohesive to me.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just like Fallout 4. There's so many good mods. There's so many good mods for Fallout 4.
And it's a really good looking game.
Yeah, exactly. It looks
if you
really
want that
good.
kind
I added one of
yeah.
my favorite ones, which is not like like just a visual upgrade or anything, was with the weather mod, because it makes way more storms. It makes it a much darker game, both sort of visually but also like thematically. And you get things like radioactive rain that you have to take cover from, and just like like all these great additions that just make the world a little bit more wild.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah, but I think Fallout 3 was definitely what the series needed to bring it into just modern gaming in general, just to have it in the FPS style rather than top down turn taking.
Biofuel. I really need to organize these things by price.
So I got Gungan Plasma Ball, Frag Grenade.
Wait, you actually got one?
Yeah, I got one.
What's a chance cube game?
Dice.
Chance.
Oh, it's literally.
It's literally
cube.
yeah. It's literally.
Are there rules for playing the game that they play on the Millennium Falcon with like the Ooga Booga holographic?
The sabak, not sabak. Sorry. It's literally in the items. Oh God, I'm blanking on it. It is the Jarek table. You can buy it for 350 credits.
Oh my God, we gotta have
Goodbye
one.
vest. No, maybe one day. I would like to learn how to play this.
It's basically
Military
chess.
belt.
All right, so we got our flak vest, brass knuckle, Gungan ball. I think we're ready.
Head patch.
You get an eye patch?
Comlink. Do you guys want? Do we have comlinks?
I recommend them.
Good. Yeah. It's like such an upgrade from D&D having conflicts. You can talk to your whole party. Like you're not stuck in the medieval.
Adam's already 50 credits in the red. So
Yeah, I blew my load on my
How
bowcat.
much is it? Where are you seeing this in? Just in gear, Comlink?
Yep.
Get yourself one, dude.
It's the same price as of a bottle of Corellian whiskey.
Oh, okay. I got
Of course. My favorite kind.
I think I'm gonna buy one of those.
Yeah,
Oh, it's like
okay,
25.
okay, conflict.
I have exactly enough. So comlink. This is all we need to talk to each other.
Bottle of Corellian.
Can't help. I didn't even.
So the
think
base
about it.
starting credits is 500, and then if we do anything differently, we get more. Shoot, 500.
Base credits is 500 credits.
And I'm down to 300. I bought a bottle of Corellian whiskey, a comlink, and 2 stim packs.
Did you see? I might sell back that there's a toolkit, by the way, that gives you boost die on all mechanics checks. I don't know if you want that, but
Where is this? What? Who? Huh? What?
What?
it
This
is.
entrenching.
If in gear, if you just type in tool,
Utility belt. Just gonna search.
no,
for
it's 300.
tool.
Yeah, 350 credits. It should just be tool space kit. There's also
Field manual.
there's a demolitions toolkit there, Pierre.
What?
Homecast. Timing gear. Lock picking tools.
No,
Yeah,
toolkit.
lock-picking tools.
Toolkit 350 credits, rarity 2-4.
Toolkit. That is not anywhere on this page that I see.
Yeah. Clear filters toolkit does not show up, but
Type it with a space between tool and
I'll
kit.
do demo. Oh, here we go. Demolitions toolkit. I got you, man. Yeah, that's,
No, tool. The word tool. I look for every single one, and there's
it's
no
a
kit.
toolkit. Counts as a toolkit when
Spoon
dealing
container,
with explosives.
entrenching tool, emergency repair patch,
do?
military field manual, insider's guide,
I can
specimen
spend
mulligan,
4. What is that? Advantage
Oh.
the crab.
Yeah, and then you
cultural etiquette.
you
to
can
remove
remove
Cultural etiquette
despair.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But it also counts as a toolkit, which means you get boost die on any check to like make explosives. So a toolkit is
Oh,
350
okay.
credits and allows you to add
Pretty
boost
good.
die to all of your mechanics check.
I'll make a note to get toolkit.
Guys, I found a wizard pouch.
Nice.
It's only 50 credits, and you
Because this
can
is a
be a wizard.
fantasy. This is a
You
fantasy.
too can be a wizard.
Get demolitions toolkit, 400 creds. That's all we need.
It said, did you find a demolition toolkit?
I put a space between tool and kit, and it came up, but I can't afford it right now. I gotta think about
Well, healing kit,
the vest alone costs 300. So I
Guide
only have
kit.
200 left.
portable veterinary kit, healer's kit. I don't see a normal toolkit, Gabe.
Did you put a space between tool and kit?
Yeah, hold on. I just opened this whole thing more. So let me see if I can tool kit.
And then
Here we
search
go,
by
yep.
price. Yeah.
No, I did search by price, but I found it.
Okay.
Oh shoot. So what does this do? It just says.
Yeah, it doesn't have the full
description.
description. It gives you a boost die to any mechanics check.
Any repairs or anything I do with it?
Yeah.
Cultural.
That's pretty good.
Someone should buy.
But you know what? Maybe I won't have those 2 stim packs, and I'll just be dirt broke.
Stim packs. Who needs?
Does anybody have stim packs?
I had 2 stim packs, okay?
No, it's actually a smart idea. Very smart.
Stim packs are for lame kids that want to not go down.
That's me.
All right, boys. I'm gonna have to hop off, but any
I'm not gonna have
We're looking pretty good.
Yep.
To jump into things next time.
yeah, which probably next weekend, right? If folks are free, we
Next
can.
Sunday.
I don't know. I could be really busy with all the plans that I have.
Yeah, I think I could pencil you guys in.
Cool.
Can we
Appreciate.
just get the
that.
URL and then share it with you, Gabe? Is
Yeah,
that it?
save your character and just share it into downtime. Our character story discussion. And
you
I'll
go
look at it,
first,
make sure it's all good, and then it's mostly just to make sure that everything is.
I can
Oh,
share,
that's
I
my
can
background.
share my character.
Yeah, you just once you save it, you can just copy and paste the
Yeah,
URL.
Uh, copy and paste the UI.
Oh man, this is gonna.
So we where are we clicking that? Where are we putting that in?
Characters
story?
discussion. Yeah. Pierre, it looks like you're missing some ranks, some skill ranks.
Equi Turbo.
Yeah, I only count 5 skill ranks. You should have at least 7.
What the hell?
Skill
How
ranks?
do I get? I thought I had to pay XP for those, right?
So you're gonna start with 6 total ranks, based on your career and specialization, and then Wookiees start with a free rank in Brawl. So that should be a total of 7.
So it's whatever I've checkboxed, I get to put a rank in there.
Not
I
every
don't
single
know
one,
if
but
checkbox-
it's gonna be a total of 6. So again, for your career, so you're a technician. No, you're an engineer, right?
Yeah. So I have athletics. So okay. So for my specialization, I took skullduggery and stealth. The other ones that I checked were my regular career.
Okay. Let me look back at it then. So you took skullduggery and stealth. So
Yeah. I spent 5 XP into each of those to get them to rank 1. Maybe I did this wrong way.
yeah. So you get free ranks in 4 of your career skills and 2 of your specialization skills. So your career is engineer, and your
Yeah.
specialization is saboteur. So as an engineer, you're
Oh, so okay. I thought when I checked the box, so what does checking the box do?
so they're easier to rank up later on, and you get free
Okay.
ranks in them to start. Not all of them,
Okay,
but
so I
some
see.
of them. So
Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna back up.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna back up out of this.
Back it
Everything I
up.
put 1 into except brawl, like you mentioned. I'm gonna add 5 XP to the available XP, and I'll just work around it. Again.
yeah,
So
yeah. So you should have total of 7
5,
skills once you're done.
10,
And so 4 of the
15.
skills that should
Okay.
come from your career list, which the begging for XP I don't think has all your career skills, which is part of the problem here.
So whatever I did a checkbox on for engineer, I should put a rank into the skills. So like athletics, mechanics, perception, and then
Well, you're gonna have all the
range.
box checked, and there should be roughly around 10. If there's overlapping with your specialization, there won't be. And so you get 4 free ranks. All the boxes are going to be checked for career. They're all career skills, but you get 4 free ranks in 4 of the skills you want. So let me just
Out of the 6 that I chose.
All right.
Right, because 4 for engineer and 2.
Let me just share my screen again, and I'm gonna pull up
Okay.
your talent tree.
Let's take a look.
Thanks for your explanations, Gabe.
Yeah, of course. It's complicated to make your first
Because
character.
when I check a
Like,
box,
dude, it's like you do this for a living.
rank
Yeah.
doesn't go up. Sorry.
Yeah, you don't. The box gets checked, and you get a rank. The career skill does
Okay.
not count as the rank. But you're not gonna get 1 in every single one of your career skills.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it's only the 4 that I checked and the 2 that I checked for saboteur. All of those get a rank, right? And I checked the box.
Here, I'm just gonna go live, and we can walk through this together, make sure we're.
Oh yeah, wait. Did we put the check mark all of the things in our career?
Yeah. So
Oh, so I missed some then, right?
I'll go back and look. So Pierre, do you see my screen?
Player popped out. That's what it says.
Player popped out. I don't know what that means.
I don't know, that's all I
I should be sharing my screen.
It says you're watching stream.
And you see my screen?
No.
Oh, so for our career skills, Gabe, we check all of them, but then we get to get ranks in 4 of them.
Yes. And then
Okay.
2 from your specialization.
Got it.
Because I have 6 total career boxes checked. 4 for engineer, 2 for saboteur.
No. You get all of the ones checked, all the boxes checked. So check all the boxes from your career skills and your saboteur careers.
Oh.
All of them are career skills. All of them are career skills.
Got you, man. I got you.
Yeah, I think that was the thing I was missing too.
I was definitely missing that too.
Okay.
All right, let's
So
check it out.
so you should have roughly around 10 boxes checked.
That's cool. Okay. That feels nice.
Discipline.
Computers.
Perception.
I'm a computer.
I'm a computer.
And we do, Gabe, we do check the boxes for our specialty.
What do you mean by specialty?
Yes, you do.
Specialization, yes, you check those skills as
Oh,
well. Those count
so
as additional career.
I'm
So
a space pilot now.
so if you're seeing my screen, they count as saboteur bonus career skills.
Cool.
So when I'm doing this, I look at my career skills and I go, all right, I got athletics, computer, knowledge, education, mechanics, perception, piloting space, range light, and vigilance. And I'm like, okay, I want range light. I get 4 of these. I want range light, computers, mechanics, and perception. All right, there I got 4 from the top list, and I get free ranks in those. And then I'm looking at the bottom. I'm like, okay, I want a 2nd rank in mechanics. I want skullduggery. So now I should have 6 skills that I get free ranks in. So that would be in the rank column. But all of them are going to be checked as
Oh,
career skills in that
okay.
box.
So we have. Okay, cool. 1, 2, 6, 7,
Space, piloting
11
planetary,
skills check
mechanics.
because I had an overlap with mechanics.
Yes, that makes sense.
That's dope. And then 4 from engineer get a rank, and 2 from saboteur get a rank.
We made it, boys. We did it.
Oh my gosh, that's
We
great.
math. We did math.
And that's a free rank. That's without XP,
Wait,
right?
if
That's
you
without
overlap,
XP.
you get a free rank?
Oh my gosh.
If they overlap, you can have up to 2 ranks in it. But
Oh, okay.
so like Pierre has mechanics, so he could one of his 4 could be mechanics and one of his 2 could be mechanics.
Oh.
Yeah, I overlap in 2 of my skills.
But I'm not gonna.
Are you going Mystic Seer?
Yeah. So I get. I think
Like
Here, I
this
barely
one was there
even know her.
twice, or vigilance.
I don't see her anymore.
I went
All right.
flying by the Mystic Seer.
That's lovely. Thanks for staying a little bit longer. I think
Yeah.
it's gonna be good to go.
One last question, Gabe.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we need to do to prepare for next week?
Just think about why your character is being hired or wants to be a sector ranger, like where are they coming from. I'm going to do like a brief like 5-minute with each character saying like where did you come from, like how did you end up. Essentially we're going to be starting, you're going to be arriving on a space station. You're going to meet with the sector ranger, like the sector space ranger lieutenant basically, who's going to give you your mission. You're going to head out from there. So just think about why you showed up, because I'm going to do like a little 5-minute intro of like how did you arrive, like where are you coming from, that kind of stuff, and we're going to just like role play that a little bit out, and then you'll be in the room with the lieutenant person giving you your assignment, and then you'll head off from there, and then we'll like actually start the session.
Nice.
Cool.
All right, cool. Yeah, because I wanted to go over that because I put more obligation on myself. So I wanted to talk with you about that a little bit.
Yeah, and feel free to like message me if you want. Like, I'm super big about building my campaigns and stories around characters. So if there's specific things you want to make sure like come up from backstory obligations, anything like that, just like even if you just like, hey, I want this to be a component of this, can you just integrate it into whatever you have? I can weave them together. That's my favorite thing to do. So
You got an easy one from Pierre and I. We want to blow up our enemy, the gay cook's moon.
Yeah.
is this a moon over Kashyyyk?
Sure.
Kashyyyk has moons. Our families have rival moons.
So are your is like how much leeway can I have with this? Because I can build out
Go crazy.
cool. Because
Yeah.
what I'm probably gonna do is because Kashyyyk got pretty screwed over following during the original trilogy. We're after that, so like Kashyyyk is being repopulated with Wookiees, but Wookiees had to like go and lay low. So I imagine like your 2 houses were potentially like kind of like 2 pirate criminal organizations that exist, and we're like vying for different territory. And so I might do that. So they might have a stronghold, like a criminal empire. And maybe your family was a little bit more on the better side of things. Like they weren't as like rip and run everybody. So
Yeah, these guys are assholes.
Totally.
We hate
cool.
them.
So they can.
That is the propaganda we spread. Yes.
Sounds like some brother infighting there or disagreements. Yeah.
No, I
So,
think we're on the same side.
we'll like role play the first session, which will be a little bit more like introductory to the setting, and then we can like open up from there. This is the classic get your own ship kind of deal.
Get your ship.
Get your ship together.
Get your ship.
Any last questions before I hop off?
I think this looks great, Gabe. Thanks
That's
again
good.
for sharing.
Yeah, of
Finish
course.
this up later today.
Sounds great. Yeah, unfortunately, this system just takes a lot for the first character creation. It's a little bit to get used to. So different from any other
See you
system.
in a second.
All right, boys. Let's plan on next Sunday. I'll post a question and see what we get in terms of actual final decision making. And then if you have any questions about your character between now and then, I'm around.
Awesome.
Thanks, Gabe.
Yeah, see you fellas. Thanks all.
Peace.
Okay.
Mm.